YouTube tells me live streaming is unavailable right now. Let's try again. I assume that means it's working. So I may as well just say it. Hello, World Wide Web. I'm Dr. Shaun, and welcome to Live and Wired, episode 42, The Answer to Everything. Because I had to come up with the title real fast, and I've been really busy today. Okay. Sol Upreme says, woohoo! Kat says, Decker, you are on. It still says loading preview to me, like it's just a little spinny circle. It doesn't have any idea what it's doing. But we're on, so that's good. And joining, as always, we have Patricia Miranda.
Hey everybody, how's it going?
And that long-haired creepy guy. And as you might have figured out by now, things are looking a little different. Things are looking a wee bit changed since last time we've done a Live and Wired. If you remember episode 41, The Final Hangout. And there was a reason it was called The Final Hangout. That is because, according to Google, they were shutting off Google Hangouts on August 1st, which was 2 days ago. Even though, actually, I think we could still actually use Google Hangouts, actually.
Yeah, but we wouldn't want to take the chance to do that.
I mean, it looks like we could just keep doing that, because, as far as I can tell, we can still get on Google Hangouts, and oh, there we go, that's
Also, I have food.
Okay, well, it seems like there's still a few growing pains on this. Patricia, your camera just glitched out to hell for a second.
Really? What happened?
You just turned into a green, just flashing, like, ah!
Wow. I did not know that. I am very sorry.
But, other than that, Discord, which we are currently on, seems to be quite a bit more stable than Google Hangouts was. If you noticed, Creepy's cam is no longer potato vision over here.
No, I could actually see him.
I brought food. For me. Not for anyone else.
I brought what keeps me live and wired. And also on the topic of Live and Wired, you might have noticed that the Live and Wired mug that's always been down in the description. It's just been for sale. No one's ever bought one, which right now I'm actually kind of thankful for, because Dobby destroys my mugs constantly, so he broke my Live and Wired mug that I first got, and I bought another one. He broke that one too, so I was like, okay, I'm not going to get it from my Streamlabs store this time. I'm going to get the Live and Wired mug that I'm selling on Teespring, on YouTube, that one. That sounds like a fun time. I'm going to find out exactly what the quality is of the Live and Wired mug they send me. That's about the answer I got. So, okay. I figured I'm going to save this one for a little live unboxing. I never actually opened this, so there we go. What do we have in here?
My first question was the box marked fragile?
Oh, no, it was not. There was a little bit of cardboard to provide a little cushioning. That's it. Well, the quality of the print there is actually not too bad. If it weren't for the fact that it's fucking broken, that might be a nice little mug. That part around the handle being just... I thought that'd look weird, the part around the handle that was just white, and yeah, that does still look weird. But the Live and Wired mug, the overall quality of the mug, it's okay. It's just too bad that the shipping was complete fucking ass. So... Yeah. I have since removed that from the Teespring store on YouTube. I'm not going to be selling mugs through Teespring anymore. I might get a t-shirt eventually on there. That I feel like that won't shatter through shipping.
Decker, you should know by now not to tempt fate.
I needed a new mug, and I was like, hey, here we go. They charge like $1 less for shipping than the Streamlabs store, but that should be fine. No. The shipping's a little more expensive with Streamlabs, but I gotta say it's worth it to actually get the products.
In one piece.
I mean, technically I got the product. I think I could put a little bit of liquid in there, but...
You got the product. Some assembly may be required. Also, invest in super glue.
Yes. We actually have a comment from New Bafazug. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. For $2. When should we expect a Tusk and Teeth review?
Whew. I know Teeth has been a big request for a long time, and I'm a little terrified of it because of that.
Mm-hmm.
People don't ask me to review something over and over again if they're expecting me to have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's also Tusk. I know that one. I haven't seen it, but I know it, and I know it enough to know that it's going to probably have a similar reaction from me as Teeth.
Yeah, Tusk is the what was it, the Kevin Smith film?
I know it's kind of like body horror kind of stuff. Like
yeah, the Kevin Smith film where some guy turns into a walrus.
Evil 1976 is now hosting this stream with one viewer. Thank you very much. I believe that's on Twitch.
But yeah, when people start pelting Decker for...
Steve Goldie on Twitch is saying, not the best supplier, plenty of other good ones to purchase from. And yeah, the mugs are still on sale in Twitch through the Streamlabs store. I was attaching my Teespring store to the Twitch channel as well, but it was not actually showing anything, even though I was telling it to show the mug. But I've since removed that from the Twitch page as well, because other than the mugs, I didn't have anything to sell on Teespring. So
yeah,
I mean you can't. I could put the Live and Wired logo on a T-shirt. I could have the very simple little top to bottom Live and Wired logo from the mug. That can go on a little black T-shirt, and I feel like that would be worth selling for like $9.99.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like that'd be an okay T-shirt, but I can't sell a T-shirt for $9.99. They're like, no, this is going to be at least $23, and then shipping. And I'm like, no, I need to get a much better design to put on a shirt to actually sell it at the prices that are the minimum to sell the things at.
Yeah.
Decker will never make it in the business industry. He has principles. You know how that goes.
Yeah, for sure. Jane Fernston asks, Patricia, how was the con? The con was excellent, by the way. I had a great time. I went to HamaCon, which is this very small convention down in downtown Huntsville. I met up with a couple of people. I saw this really awesome T-Rex-led Pikachu parade. If you go follow me on Twitter or on Instagram, you'll definitely check those out. I met up with a few people. I met up with Micah Solazad and
Squashy Aussie telling me to sell my bathwater.
The only time that will be happening is if you sold the bathwater that you used for one of your Halloween videos.
There was the one episode in last year's summer special where I got out of the bath, and everyone was talking about the bathwater in that because the bathwater had a bit of a yellow tint to it. We got a well here, which is nice to have your own water, but if there's any problems with the water, you gotta freaking deal with it yourself. And when you got iron bacteria, shit comes out yellow.
Yeah.
I remember that. Like that went on for like almost a month, I think.
I would be complaining about my water the whole time.
Yeah, people were still talking about the whole yellow bathwater.
Well, at least
I remember.
That there is how you know you're getting authentic Decker Shadow bathwater.
Yes, because it has that yellow tint to it.
If you are risking your health and your sanity,
it's definitely not for drinking.
You have authentic Decker Shadow bathwater. In stores today. They contain CDC warning.
Oh, jeez. But, yeah, let's see. Who else I met? Yeah, I met up with Afia Yu, and I met up with Chuck Huber and Tiffany Grant. Very well-known, prolific voice actors, and I got a few... I actually got a few things at my convention. Let me just see if I can pull it up real quick. I'll be right back.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Now this is the part where it gets awkward because I haven't set up the proper scenes to be able to cut. Like, through OBS, I can get this actually working nicely. Like, all I've got is, like, the Discord window going straight out. It's just kind of figuring it out as we go. But,
yeah.
Like, I could, like, when you get up, I could have had a scene ready to just choose exactly which two cameras to change to, but I don't have that set up yet.
Oh wait, I forgot something.
Yes, leave me alone with him yet again.
Yes.
Okay, I got it. All right, so let's see. The first one that I got was I got Chuck Huber's autograph. I got this signing of Hiei from Yu Yu Hakusho.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's very awesome. I actually did a podcast on Yu Yu Hakusho about a year ago, so if you're interested in checking that out. Here is Micah's autograph. This is from Soul Eater. Here's another one. This is from the video game A Hat in Time. This is Afia Yu. She plays Hat Kid. And this is Tiffany Grant's autograph. It's right over here because she voices the character Kaorin right over there. It's a minor character in Azumanga Daioh, which is the DVD that you're seeing right here. Have you ever?
I just remember all the YouTube poops about that.
Believe it or not, if you've ever heard the term waifu, that's where it came from. I'm not even joking. Yeah, really. In episode 8 of Azumanga Daioh, the teacher, Kimura Sensei, is known for being a pervert. And the reason why he's a teacher is because he likes high school girls and he wants to see their skimpy bathing suits and what have you.
This is very comfortable already.
Okay, I know. Okay, so there's this one scene in which when a picture drops out of his pocket and it's his wife, and the girls are looking at it and it's like, who is this person? And then he says, "This is my wife." But if you hear in the Japanese version, he says, "My waifu." And that's actually where it came from. And guess what? There were so many people at the convention that I was at who was wearing like waifu hats and stuff like that, and they don't even know where the term came from.
Well, technically, isn't the term pretty much just Japanese for wife? But I guess it would have increased its spread throughout the Western world through
Azumanga Daioh, but
that's what I said. After a fashion.
And then
through the actions of a very perverted elementary school teacher. The show is for all ages, by the way.
It's a high school teacher, but it's but pretty much.
That's
I got a new follower, SSJ4 David. Welcome.
And finally, the last one that I got. This is an original comic that was written by Micah and Afia Yu, the voice actors I just mentioned earlier, and they just autographed it right here. So. Yeah, I have so much memorabilia from all the conventions that I've been going to because I've been going to them for over 10 years. And I could probably do an entire vlog about it. But over the years, I've archived my information about all the people that I've ever met and all the autographs that I've ever gotten. So if you want to go check out my blog, you can. So yeah, there goes all my stuff.
All right.
Toby Kirby asks, a teacher in an anime is a pervert. Are there any teachers in anime who are not perverts? There are some exceptions, I think, but for the most part, it is
that one with that's just a big smiley face that's trying to get everyone to kill him.
Yeah, that's Assassination Classroom.
Is he perverted? I don't think he is.
I don't think he.
I don't know if he's even a he. Meatloaf6420 is now following. Welcome
very much.
I do remember there was a lesser known anime. It was very popular when it first came out, and like 2002, 2003 it came out, but then it just kind of faded into obscurity. It was a 13 episode series called Please Teacher. Ironically enough, the teacher in the anime is not perverted. But it does feature her getting married to a student.
I remember anime I watched where pretty much all of the teachers were perverted, but then again, that's because the anime was colorful and pretty much everyone was perverted.
Yeah, pretty much. Anyway, so I think now that we got our introductions out of the way, I think we can get started with the news.
Aww.
I know. I'm
like
joy kill.
I love the opening. It's chat people saying, and it's like Samurai Red there saying creepy chillin' like a pimp. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we could. I guess we could go on, but yeah, I'm actually curious. How do I share a screen to show off the news?
There should be a. Let me see. I'll pop this up here. Where is the share screen option? There's supposed to be one. Add friends, member list. Okay, we're doing the wonderfuls. Yeah. Okay. Oh, there is it. Turn on screen share. Does that show up in the... It doesn't show up in full screen for some reason. But if you go out of full screen, next to turn off camera and leave call, there's turn on screen share.
Okay, I see it now. All right, so let me just do that real quick. Get the first news article that we can talk about.
Porter981 just subscribed. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you for the subscription. All right, so let me just pull out the first bit of news. So, turn on screen. Sure, let's do that.
Experiencing technical difficulty. Oh, there we go. Never mind.
Okay, yeah, there we go. I think we got it now.
Okay.
Okay, our first bit of news. Dungeons and Dragons film has Jonathan Goldstein and John Francis Daly in sights to direct. We've been talking about this for over a year now, and it's been up and down in the air about like if it's even going to happen. But apparently now it's being pushed even further with new directors.
I disbelieve the illusion.
Yeah, I think that we all do.
Locust03 just followed. Welcome. Also, Jacob dropped $5 saying, any zombie movie reviews in the future. Thanks. Love your reviews. And, not that I have planned, but I know there are plenty of movies that technically are zombie movies that have been big requests.
Mm-hmm.
Everything from, your World War Z down to your Resident Evil. Technically, that's a zombie movie.
It is, actually, yeah. We'll be discussing about a zombie movie later, so stay tuned. But in the meantime, Dungeons and Dragons. The long-awaited screen adaptation of the massive role-playing game hit Dungeons & Dragons is one step closer to happening. Sources say that Jonathan Goldstein and John Francis Daly are in discussions to direct the film for Paramount and Hasbro's AllSpark Pictures. Goldstein and Daly mostly directed Game Night, the New Line/Warner Brothers dark comedy about a group of players in their usual game night collides with kidnapping that may or may not be part of the game.
Why would that be part of the game? Who the hell would design that game? That's just a psychopath.
Decker,
it doesn't matter if that's part of the game. You don't play with that guy anymore.
Decker, you would do this.
That's not the point, creepy.
I'm actually surprised you have not done this before now.
Yeah, that is true. Let's see. Where was I? Oh, yeah. They mostly recently scripted Spider-Man Homecoming. This is all coming together and will
Mithril Mist asked on Twitch, did I miss a YouTube notification, or are we not doing Live and Wired on YouTube? We are doing Live and Wired on YouTube right now. There's lots of YouTube chat going on. Also streaming this to Mixer and DLive and Alfreaka TV and all the lovely places.
Yeah, YouTube is just being YouTube.
Though for some strange reason, Restream is telling me only 11 people total are watching. So I don't know what that's all about.
True. Motorcycle US asks, Patricia, Creepy, and Decker, what are your favorite classes? I assume, what is it, like Dungeons and Dragon classes? I've never played Dungeons and Dragons, so I'm not too familiar with what each character does. So, but I do like elves. So elves are cool. I mean, like in Link from Legend of Zelda. Oh, it's a race.
Unless we're going by first edition rules, in which case it's also a class.
Oh,
it's weird.
I see. Okay, how about a sage? Is that a class?
Actually, yeah, sage is a class.
Okay.
It's an advanced class. It's what they call a prestige class, I believe.
Okay.
I'm just gonna say Scion. The one I've never got to play.
Scion. Okay.
It's when you break out the Psionics handbook and you're like, you know what? Dragons and magic just isn't enough for me. We gotta bring in psychic powers.
Sure. Okay. What about you, Creepy?
I actually have an ongoing D&D campaign that I'm a part of, and I play a favored soul. A favorite soul is like a cleric, except you don't actually have to work for it. You have healing, you have clerical powers because the gods like you. Here, have some superpowers.
Okay, sounds good. So yes, thank you for the.
Play one long enough, you can grow wings and fly.
All right. Jay Fernstein asks, Patricia, get Gauntlet Darkly. You'll get it quick. Thank you for the recommendation.
Is that to help all the players out who want to play clerics to be the healer in the group, but as soon as they roleplay something other than lawful good, suddenly they lose all of their magic.
Mm-hmm.
Gods don't appreciate that.
Richard McPherson dropped $2. How does one summon a great old one?
Time, a lot of practice, and a hell of a lot of Coca-Cola.
Mithril Mist on Twitch says, Scion? 4th edition?
Yeah. Let's see what I was missing out on. Let me just finish this up. This is all coming together quickly, and we'll add more information as the duo had been attached to direct The Flash for Warner Brothers in DC, but they exited that configuration and were available for this. Like the game itself, mounting a screen version of Dungeons & Dragons have been a battle, including several years in the courts over a rights dispute. Warner Brothers and New Line tried several incarnations, including one with Lego Batman helmer Chris McKay. He instead took Ghost Draft at Skydance with Chris Pratt, and the project lost steam when another Smash video game title adaptation, the $160 million budget Warcraft, didn't work in the US for Legendary and Universal. It got panned here, but it did very well overseas, but it certainly didn't help Dungeons & Dragons, which slipped loose while Paramount stepped in to take in the shot.
If the film everyone's like complaining about that screech I did, like, dude, ears. Android 21 Lolo's like, thanks for the ear rape. And then Samurai Red saying, dude needs a pop filter. I have a pop filter. It's right here.
Yeah, I have a pop filter as well.
It's this big thing, right? It's like that. I was like, it's in the. It's
Logic error. Logic error.
Let's see, where was I? If the film somehow captures even some of the rabid player audience, be a blockbuster. Michael Gilio wrote the most recent draft, and Brian Goldner and Stephen Davis are producing for all. UTA and Fourth Wall Management rep the filmmakers. So there you go. Let me see. How do I get this thing back? Okay, so I just click on. Okay, so turn this off and turn back on my camera. And there we go. All right.
Yes, we know how things work. Woo!
Yay!
Kind of flying by the seat of our pants here. Which is impressive considering I'm not wearing any.
Of course not. Android 21 Lola asks, Decker, any plans on reviewing any of the Stargate movies?
Stargate has been another pretty large... thank you. It has been a pretty large request. Yakov Petrovich Goya... well, they just followed. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But, it has been a very large request, so I definitely need to get to it, but I haven't scheduled it out or figured out exactly which month I'm going to go see about tackling any of them.
I'm actually excited for the idea of Decker like watching Stargate and then reviewing it, simply because of all of the science fails that are in that movie, and I can imagine Decker sitting there watching it and just finally, after about 10-15 minutes, he just starts screaming, and for like the next hour 45 minutes, there's just this long stream of consciousness that's mostly swear words, similar to the Predator reaction video, of course.
Oh, guys, you see the best?
He hasn't even actually started watching it yet, and he's already doing this.
You must understand, I do like science fiction, but by that I mean science fiction. Oh, Sol donated $1. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Really do appreciate it.
Decker, you ever going to review Sweeney Todd?
Ooh, Sweeney Todd. That would be fun.
That went past very quickly. Did it pop up anywhere where I can actually read it slower? I don't know. I gotta figure out some way to get to see that a little easier. But Sweeney Todd, that has also been actually quite a big request. But that's I don't know. That seems like it would be fun. But I'd like to, before that, tackle something like Repo.
Mm-hmm.
But also Repo, I've got it going in my head, the plan of how I want to tackle that, and it's probably larger than I can actually pull off. But when does that ever stop me?
Never true. We have Chris Durden asked, Decker, can you please do a review of the Return of the Living Dead series? Please answer my question with a shout out, please.
Return of the Living Dead series. Yeah, that was pretty much set up like the Return of the Living Dead. The first Return of the Living Dead was set up kind of like it was a sequel to Night of the Living Dead, even though it was not from anyone who actually had anything to do with the Night of the Living Dead, as far as I know. Just because Night of the Living Dead, as you know, is public domain. It's one of those things where there were butting heads on how to deal with the rights for everything, so it was just like, screw it, public domain. And everyone knows it, but then everyone could just make sequels, and not just those Italian sequels, which also exist, even though, you don't necessarily have to do it that way. There's Italian sequels to everything. There's, everyone knows Zombie 2. There's also Alien 2 on Earth, which I still have to do that one, too. But yeah, Return of the Living Dead was actually... While Night of the Living Dead definitely broke into public consciousness and helped bring the zombie genre out, Return of the Living Dead is really where a lot of the very famous aspects of the zombie genre came to fruition. Whereas, a very fun movie, where you got the zombies are rotting and coming back from the dead from weird mystical science shit. But, they're specifically eating people's brains. Like, in Night of the Living Dead, they ate people, yes. But in Return of the Living Dead, they ate people's brains, and they went around saying, brains. So, yeah. Definitely, there's a lot of things with the Return of the Living Dead series that I really want to dig into.
Yeah. We actually have an interesting question from the Executioner. How do you transfer Blu-ray and DVD over to digital form? I want to do movie reviews, but I can't find a Blu-ray drive because most of my movies are on Blu-ray. Much help would be appreciated.
Oh, well, I have an internal Blu-ray drive on my desktop, and I use DVD Fab, but that's very expensive, honestly. For a lifetime license costs like $250, $300. But considering it is kind of what I do for a living, it's pretty easy for me to justify that cost.
Yeah.
But
there's also real quick. There's also Handbrake. I can't remember how much it costs offhand, but I do think it's a bit cheaper than DVD Fab. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there are like some free options, or at least some trials. Magic DVD Ripper. I don't know if that works with Blu-ray yet, but I do know that is actually a pretty good piece of software, and it does have a free trial. So
yeah, that's the one that I use for my DVDs. Although sometimes if my DVDs are like really, really scratched, then it won't be able to read it properly. So that's a downside.
Mm.
And I have some DVDs that are like over 15, 20 years old, and they are a little bit scratched and a little uneven, so it depends of how in good condition your DVDs are. So I hope that helps for you, Executioner, and best of luck to you.
My legs. My lumbar support. There we go.
All right.
Support. I need lumbar support.
All right, I got the next article up, and it's creepy.
Flame Prism 94508 on Mixer says hello.
Hello.
Hello there.
Hello again.
All right, I got the next article up for Creepy. So this actually is really interesting, and I'd like to know because you actually talked about it on your channel a few years ago. So let me just turn this thing on. Here we go. Apparently there's some news about a live-action Black Cauldron movie, which it's not too surprising at this point because Disney has been doing so many live-action movies nowadays. Like The Lion King and Aladdin came out of the same year, and now they're going to be talking about Mulan next year. There's also The Lady and the Tramp, which is going to be on Disney Plus.
Just a second. The one that was sent for the dollar chat that popped up that went by too quickly for me to read says, Decker, are you ever going to do a review of Sweeney Todd or Shaun of the Dead? Both I feel would fit your channel since both have lots of scenes in which the body count rises. There, Decker, please notice I paid $1, but Twitch's a bitch. Also, sorry others for posting this, but I really wanted to answer since I paid that amazing fucker. So, Sweeney Todd or Shaun of the Dead. Shaun of the Dead is another very famous zombie movie. It's a parody, but it takes itself seriously enough while also clearly being a parody. I think that fits in a pretty nice spot in terms of film. So that's something I would really like to check out just in general. And Sweeney Todd, like I said, I'd like to maybe tackle that around the same time I would tackle Repo, which I definitely want to tackle Repo.
The summer of horror musicals.
I don't know if I could do an entire summer of horror musicals. I mean, I'd like to maybe sing a little. And if you've ever watched me on Twitch Sings, you know I can't fucking do that.
That's okay. I'm not a very good singer either. But I think
everyone just started looking at me like creepy.
Yeah, you're a better singer than both of us.
I'm kind of drawing a blank as to what I should sing because I feel I don't know. Is this what peer pressure is? You know, I heard stories as a child that when you're in a group, you will be pressured by the group to do things. So I'm like, is that what that is? Huh. Well, now I know.
Yeah. Well, anyway, creepy. So, this hasn't been like officially confirmed, but they said that it could be a possibility. So, why don't you? Oh, darn it! I hate when they just do this. Go away. Okay, there you go, creepy. Go ahead.
Disney's The Black Cauldron live-action remake could be on the way. In the trend of Disney live-action remakes, yeah, it appears Disney's looking to resolve past mistakes by giving some of their biggest financial and theatrical flops a second chance on the big screen, or potentially on the new streaming service, Disney Plus, also known as Disney Plus.
Beautiful wording.
I feel like this article isn't entirely accurate.
It's not. It's just like I said, it's just rumors. So It's just somebody who heard about it. But you know what? It's not too surprising because, you know, it's Disney. But I think that this article talking about like they want to give their flops a second chance, I think it's much more of a reasonable explanation on to do these as opposed to like their more popular films. But I'll get into more on that later. So go ahead.
Yeah, like I didn't really consider The Black Cauldron to be a bad movie. But anyway, one flop that nearly destroyed the studio in 1985 was Disney's The Black Cauldron. After Walt's passing in 1966, the studio struggled to create films that did nearly as well as the films Walt Disney himself oversaw. The first few years after Walt's passing included projects he had a voice in before his health became his primary concern and seemed to do okay. But after the last of his projects had reached theaters and television, the studio struggled to make films that resonated with audiences in what is commonly referred to as the dark ages of Disney. The release of The Black Cauldron nearly ran the studio bankrupt after the $44 million project only generated $21.3 million at the box office.
Disney. Oh boy. Sorry, in the chat. Judson Gaydon says, fun fact, the Brave Little Toaster was produced by a company called Hyperion. What sort of movies do you think Malawan made?
I don't understand the question.
Hyperion is one of the companies in Borderlands. One of the weapons manufacturers.
Okay.
And so Malawan is another one of said companies. They specialize in elemental weaponry.
Oh.
So I shot that guy with this gun, but it actually electrocuted them and then set them on fire and then froze them solid.
I get what you're saying. It technically is a Disney movie. poster, but it's not. It's kind of like one of the lesser Disney movies, like and not like it was kind of like done in like a different company that Disney was also like associated with. But yeah, I think that the fact that we had some really dark moments in there. I think we even talked about this in a previous episode, Live and Wired, like the creepy clown and the scary imagery of the cars going in through the disposal and being crushed to death while they were singing that they were worthless. So, yeah, it does get actually pretty dark.
Firestarter.
Firestarter.
That's the movie that Malawan made.
Okay, gotcha. Firestarter. Okay, yeah. I'm sorry, Creepy. Please continue.
Okay. Walt Disney Animation was saved by the earnings of Disney's The Little Mermaid, which came out like 4 years later, but okay, and entered a phase called the Disney Renaissance, and has since cranked out hit after hit in the box office, with a few failed projects in between. I was about to say... Okay, that one statement nearly set me off. I don't mind telling you. I was like...
Did we mention that this is not a legit, like, website, like something like in Variety? This is just some heard a rumor that it might happen.
Well, then again, that's where we got the Sonic movie information from, and that was scarily accurate.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Damn it.
For those of you who may not be familiar with Disney's The Black Cauldron, check out this synopsis by Google. In the land of Prydain.
I'm sorry.
What's up?
By Google? The synopsis by Google? What's wrong? You couldn't come up with the synopsis yourself when you watched the movie yet?
Yeah.
In case you're not familiar with The Black Cauldron, here's something I copy and pasted from Wikipedia.
Pretty much.
Okay, I'm sorry. Continue.
Like that registered, but I just kept going for some reason. Anyway, check out this synopsis by Google, because that's still funny. In the land of Prydain, lowly pig herder Taran dreams of becoming a gallant knight. Young Taran receives his heroic calling when the evil Horned King, no relation to Skeletor despite the resemblance, kidnaps Henwin, a prophesying pig. Yes, you heard me say that right. A pig that has the gift of clairvoyance and foresight. A prophesying pig that has been entrusted to Taran, now with help from his furry sidekick Gurgi. That is a debatable statement right there. And from what I remember of the movie, Gurgi was less of a sidekick and more like a tag-along. And Princess Elanwi, although, she's actually pretty badass. Taran must locate the magical Black Cauldron before the Horned King is able to use its mystical powers to summon an army of the undead, which is an actually pretty awesome scene in that movie.
Oh boy, we just got another dollar from Soul, and I can't read the text because it's so small on my screen.
Uh-oh.
Oh boy. Thanks?
Thanks. Let me know if I can find it. I'll probably read it off.
I see a comment on Twitch, though. I don't know if this is from that, but it says, Decker, you should do a... Okay, and he also says, check chat, goddammit! But Decker, you should do a full modded playthrough of Fallout New Vegas on your gaming channel. It'd be amazing, in my opinion, because of your reactions. Plus, with how the modding community I feel, it could be amazing.
Yeah. So thank you very much for that. And I think that's pretty much it. So,
and Hectadapt is now hosting with one viewer. Thank you.
I'm gonna turn this off. There we go. So yeah, okay. I think that's.
I need to get up.
Patricia, did you turn off the lights in Creepy's room?
Yeah, I'm
hold on.
turning into a Bond villain over here.
Let me turn it on. Clap on.
IVV dropped $2 asking, can you play Dirt to Daytona on GameCube? And that is tempting just from the fact that I really do like rally racing games, believe it or not. It's one of the things that I'm really frustrated about with my Xbox One X is the fact that Rally Sport Challenge neither 1 or 2 is backwards compatible. Why? Why? These are like the greatest rally racing games ever made. And Pink Milk 1831 is now following and hosting the stream with 1 viewer. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Maybe I should turn those notifications off. I don't know. But then again, when it gets the donations, that's the only way to see them. The little alert box. I should probably just customize the damn things. I have the default GIFs. It's like a little pixel zombie running. Everyone's seen that one. No one thinks it's interesting. It has nothing to do with Live and Wired. It just reminds people, oh yeah, this motherfucker hasn't reviewed a zombie movie in a long damn time. We should get on him about that. But I don't have a GameCube, so... I mean, I guess I could, like, get Dolphin, but...
What was it you once made fun of me for? Let me refresh my memory. Oh, yeah, having a GameCube.
Well, that was that was the highest end system at the time. At the period of time when, like, there were other options.
No, there was the PS2. I had that too.
That's not as high end as the GameCube.
Whoa. Burn.
Debatable.
Black Moon Rose 13 is now hosting with 1 viewer. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So yeah, Creepy, I'm actually curious. Do you now? I was gonna mention this right now. So I think that the discussion about like trying to resurrect like lesser known classics from Disney, I think that does make a lot more sense as opposed to like doing a masterpiece or a movie that's considered to be timeless, because you can't really recreate something that's already been perfect the first time.
Michael Wolf says the game is on PS2 as well, and that does give me an idea, because my PlayStation 3 is a launch model, and therefore backwards compatible, and with an HDMI output, therefore into the capture card. Boom! I mean, I'm not going to do that, but it's possible.
Way to bring people's spirits higher. Only for it to crash down and burn.
Yeah. But
anyways.
No, I actually like that idea way better than I do like remaking Cinderella and definitely Beauty and the Beast, because a lot of people, the general reactions when they made a live action Beauty and the Beast, it wasn't really terrible. It was just that it felt like, what was the point of this? The first one was just perfect. It was so good. What does making a live, again, I said this before. I said this a while back. It may have been as far back as last year. But like when Disney does this, it almost feels like Disney is saying that animated films are not legitimate. That they're not. It's not a legitimate.
So I just remember Disney, what the live action Disney came on, and I couldn't get past like the first 15 minutes because I was just like, what the. It's just the part is like Gaston. Like, it's all going about the same, except for certain things that just seem completely unnecessary. Like Gaston stopping in the middle of the movie is like, by the way, I just want to reiterate, I'm not actually having sex with any of these 3 ladies here. I appreciate their affection, but I'm not going to return any of it. It's like,
yeah. and also the fact that, he was suffering from PTSD from the war, and so that's why he's like a raging lunatic a lot of the time.
Also, Sol dropped another $1 and says, hey, Creepy, how long did you stalk Decker before he noticed you and you two became friends? Yes, I'm wasting all of my money as a teenager.
Actually, I did not stalk Decker. We met on way back in the first year of Manic Expression. Like, we were both posting our videos there. I can't remember which one it was, but I saw one of them. I was like, hey, this is actually pretty funny. And I noticed that he had others that he had posted, so I started watching those. And then I messaged him, and we just started talking back and forth. And then he started doing the Summer of the Planet of the Apes. And when he started doing that, I was like, hey, there was a Planet of the Apes porno. Were you aware of that?
Oh boy. Dark Solid X just cheered 100 bits, I believe. It's hard to tell. The text is really small on my screen, and I don't have my glasses on because I'm very vain. I think there was a message involved, but I don't know what it was. And it hasn't appeared in the little chat box.
Yeah. So
you could get up and find your glasses.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Oh, by the way, Jane Fernston actually wished Dicker happy birthday because it was his birthday not too long ago.
Yeah, July 28th, I turned 36.
Yeah, and pretty soon it'll be Creepy's birthday, too.
Yeah, it'll be my birthday pretty soon.
Ah, crap.
Yeah, my birthday already passed, so oh well.
Did I wish you a happy birthday on
Hectadapt
Twitter?
says that their friend and I are watching from Russia,
Yeah, you
and
did.
they call me by the nickname Jesus. Well, they just said call you, so we got to guess which one of us is Jesus.
Well, I mean, you know.
Clearly, it's creepy.
Clearly.
Yeah. It's the only instance in my life in which I saw somebody walk on water, and that be decided to rush over to the lake to chase Decker.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, Disney films. Yeah, that was. Anyway, so I can understand now. I think there's a reason why films such as the Jungle Book and the Pete's Dragon was much more of a massive success compared to something along the lines of, as mentioned before, Beauty and the Beast, and from what I've heard, The Lion King. Because not only are those like some of the lesser ones, but they have some problems that make the film kind of dated by today's standards.
Yeah. But
so. Yeah, I mean, no, I'm sorry. I was just gonna say, like, for example, for the Jungle Book. Now, I mean, don't get me wrong. For a lot of people, it's a classic, and I do like some parts of it. But not only is it like a watered down version of the original book by Rudyard Kipling, but you know, that was the last film that Walt was working on right before he passed, and there was some technical issues, and there was some issues behind the scenes. I believe that might have been the last film that the Sherman brothers did the music for right before they left and to do their own freelance stuff. And I think that you know, I think at that point in time, like the 9 old men were starting to get like at that point of retirement age. So I mean, that's why most people prefer the side characters as opposed to Mowgli, and also some of the story structure is just too basic for today's standards, in which things are much more complex and stuff like that.
Right. You also have a movie that almost no one remembers nowadays, Robin Hood. Disney actually did an animated Robin Hood. It was also it had well, he called Sir Hiss, but he was basically Ka, and it also had Baloo and a couple of other characters. It had like not quite Shere Khan, except that he was this total pushover who whined all the time.
Yeah, there's actually a really awesome documentary, by the way. If you haven't seen it before, Frank and Ollie. Frank and Ollie, it talks about like the two of the 9 old men who worked on so many Disney films, and they were talking about like some awesome behind the scenes stories about like some of the characters that they drew and some of the moments that they drew emotions to. And I think that for that particular scene about Prince John, about like it was based off of one of the, you know, animator's sons, about like he would cry and suck his thumb, and they thought that would be hilarious to put in for a villain.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like R.L. Stine coming up with the idea for Batley's character and behavior from his 5, 6, 7-year-old son who was nearsighted and needed glasses but refused to wear them. So whenever he walked into something or tripped and fell, he would shout, "I meant to do that!"
Yes. Yeah. We have a $2 comment.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm just looking ears like this. I'm like, oh god, what's going on? Hello.
We have a $2 comment from IVV, who says, "Ever do a game review? Do the Bible game as Jesus?"
I did, but I don't know why I would ever be playing that game. I like Earth Defense Force. Creepy. We got to finish it. We got to the part where they're questioning whether or not the aliens are actually God.
Yeah. But yeah, going into the Robin Hood movie, right, that they did do a cycle of their animations from so many Disney films that was why it was critiqued when it first came out. It was like panned by the critics, saying about like the recycled animation. There's animation from, like you were saying before, Jungle Book, Snow White, Aristocats, and the critics just tore Robin Hood to shreds in the reviews. And nowadays, a lot of people really enjoy it because for a lot of people, they grew up with it. They think it's a really hilarious movie. It's kind of like proto Men in Tights, where they make fun of Robin Hood. It's a musical.
Yeah, and I will admit I did enjoy Robin Hood Men in Tights. I actually enjoyed Robin Hood Men in Tights a bit more than I did Robin Hood Prince of Thieves, which I think might be heresy according to some people.
Fair enough.
I don't think I ever saw Prince of Thieves. Mm-hmm. Saw Men in Tights plenty of times, though. Yeah. Every time they do a Robin Hood movie, they burn our village down!
It's actually hilarious that was supposed to be the parody of, Prince of Thieves, but now more people remember the parody than remember that it was actually parodying.
It's kind of like how many times people say, "Oh, this little parody song we have here in this bit is parodying Weird Al's Amish Paradise." Yes. It's like, there was another song that was parodying, right?
Yeah. Yes. But no, I think that going into the discussion, Black Cauldron, I do think it deserves another chance because they could definitely follow more closely to the Prydain book series. We already know about the infamous story about how Jeffrey Katzenberg just pretty much just like shredded everything because of its violence presentation, and that's why the movie feels like really incomplete and unfinished. So if they were to do a live action version of it, then I would, like to see, Disney have another shot at it,
Honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing an entire Chronicles of Prydain series,
A series would be better.
Yeah, I mean, like, for one thing, the Black Cauldron is actually not the first book in the book series, it's the second one. The first book is called The Book of Three. And, but, even, like, you could still do like a series of Prydain movies. It could be the Chronicles of Prydain. Like if you wanted to combine, because if I remember correctly, the first two, Black Cauldron and the Chronicle and the Book of Three, are not like especially long. They're not as dense. So you could, in theory, combine the two. But even if you didn't want to, you could still have an entire, an entire Prydain movie series. And I wouldn't say no to it being animated.
Okay, we got a $2 super chat from Motorcycle US saying, Decker watched The Planet for 24 Hours or Predators. I'm not sure what The Planet is. At first I was thinking you were saying Planet of the Apes, and I'm thinking, I'd have like, for all the Planet of the Apes stuff, there's like over 24 hours of material there to watch. But Predators, I know that it's just one movie, and I'm thinking like, I could watch it like a couple of times. But after a while, I'm going to start losing my mind. But what's Planet? What's The Planet?
Not sure, actually. I mean, it's a pretty generic enough name to be anything.
Mm-hmm. I remember there was a Schoolhouse Rock song called Interplanet Janet. I don't think that's what they're talking about, though. Although that is...
If I had to watch that for 24 hours, dear God.
Conjunction, what's your function?
All
right.
Wait, the real question though is: in that song, is Pluto a planet or not?
Yes.
Okay then. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. For all you Pluto lovers, sorry.
Yeah.
Setsuna is no longer canon to being the outer sad face.
Yeah.
All right, let's go over to our next bit of news. Now, I'm actually curious about this one, especially for all of you who are fans of Halloween, because you know how Thanksgiving is at the fourth Thursday of every November? Well, there's a petition going on right now for people who want to move the date of Halloween. I'm actually going to just pull this up quick. Here it is. There we go. No, I don't want anybody to know where I am. No, go away. Okay, a petition to move Halloween to the last Saturday of October. Yeah.
Why? So, it's in a very specific spot based on the months and the All Saints Day, All Hallows Day, All Hallows Eve. It's kind of a thing with its position at the last day of October. It's kind of important for the.
Decker.
Yeah.
Money.
I don't care.
Well, you asked for a reason why they would do it. I didn't see.
Well, that's exactly why they wanted to move the position of Thanksgiving around as well, extend the Christmas shopping season. But public backlash said, "Fuck you, put it back."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I agree. I would rather it be on the 31st.
Yeah. I mean, it's called All Hallows Eve, so I would assume that it probably would be on the last day of October, something like that. But yeah, it's your turn to read.
Okay. There are lots of reasons to hate holidays. Traffic, awkward family reunions, expensive gifts that would wring a tear from anyone's wallet, the fact that I hate my family. But there's one celebration absent from all this holiday drama. It's Halloween. It's too bad that more times than not, the sugar-laden holiday is set right in the middle of the week, when would-be revelers have to go to bed early. And the fact that we encourage us all to frickin' go trick-or-treating while it's still light out anyway, in autumn, is...
Yeah.
That's not a... That's... Somehow this is a conflict. But there's a petition aiming to change that. This time, instead of demanding justice for A$AP Rocky or storming Area 51, it's lobbying to bump Halloween from October 31st to the last Saturday of the month, so it can coincide with Decker's attempt to do the Patreon live streams.
There hasn't been like kids who stay out like super late on Halloween night. That hasn't happened since like the early 80s. Like ever since the Stranger Danger PSA movement started, parents were like, yeah, trick-or-treating came earlier and earlier. Like, you'll be hard-pressed to find kids who are out when it gets dark on Halloween. So, yeah.
Yeah.
They're pretty soon we're going to have trick-or-treater in the morning.
Okay, starting to break up a bit there, Patricia.
Oh, good.
Oh, I am?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'll
fix my microphone.
Okay.
Says, the petition launched last year by the non-profit Halloween and Costume Association argues that moving the day to Halloween will lead to a safer, longer, stress-free celebration. Not the fact that it's on the weekends when everyone gets drunk and drives like assholes.
Mm-hmm.
The association didn't respond to requests for further comment. The roots of Halloween are a lot deeper than Party City commercials might have you believe. Halloween, an abbreviation for All Hallows Eve, originated as a pagan festival celebrated by the Celts thousands of years ago. As part of Samhain, a celebration of summer's end, people went souling. They'd go from door to door asking for soul cakes, or food and drink in exchange for a song, dance, or prayer. Trick-or-treating got its start there. Now, it's the main way we choose to commemorate the holiday. But trick-or-treating can be dangerous. So how does moving a date make this spooky holiday safer? In theory, it would mean Halloween would kick off during the daylight hours and not interfere with work or school schedules. That doesn't make it safer, that just makes it slightly more convenient if you happen to not work or have school on the weekends.
Exactly.
Which, depending on who you are, might not be the case.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's what makes this petition appealing to so many. The organization has scraped together 58,980 signatures. In a year, that's all you got? And more are coming by the day. After its rallying cry, the petition lists safety tips for both parents and partiers. 63% of children don't carry a flashlight when they are trick-or-treating. Well, that's because they're doing it during the day anymore. Why okay. Grab a clip-on light if they don't want to carry one. Children are more than twice as likely to be hit by a car and killed on Halloween. And how is it moving it to the frickin' weekend going to change that? If not,
because
other than increase it.
On the weekend. Weekends have more traffic than weekdays.
Why is the petition started a year ago just picking up steam in the middle of July? Well, maybe it's because CNN is sharing it just now. The fiery glory of the 4th of July must have worn off, and people are looking for the next holiday up on the calendar. Dun 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 dun!
Woo. Man, is this article stupid.
Yeah. And here's the thing, like, yeah, and I think that for the most part, like, I don't think it's really necessary to move the date of Halloween. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think it's just like for some people, it's like, yeah, let's just move the day so it'll be more convenient for us, as opposed to like knowing the culture significance on why it was called that in the first place.
Right. There's also the fact that a lot of school, they talked about how it's supposed to make it safer. A lot of schools nowadays have, like, especially elementary and middle schools, have like events, after, like, either during school hours, like they'll set aside like in the middle of the day or something, they'll have some kind of small party, or they'll have it after the school day ends, but they'll have like a sort of, like, or they'll organize a trick-or-treating thing, for kids will go home, get their costumes, get changed and whatever. Then they'll come back to school, and that is where trick-or-treating is organized at. They'll go in groups,
Yeah.
That, I mean, like, there's a reason why it happening during the middle of the week is actually convenient, because the kids are already in one place, and it's a place where they know to go. They go there every day for like 9 months out of the year. So, I mean, this is not. I mean, this really feels like someone was mildly inconvenienced by Halloween last year, so they are trying to get it changed to a Saturday, and they're just desperately trying to make it sound like this is something that people need to do. This thing didn't even have 100,000 signatures on it, and it's had all year to build up steam. So, oh man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Motorcycle US says, "Creepy. I did a super chat. Super chat will not let you use the word apes." And their super chat earlier says, "One creepy told you about super can't use animal." Then yeah. Okay. Before that, they were the one who had the super chat. "Watch The Planet for 24 Hours or Predators." So I guess Planet of the Apes, but you can't say apes in super chat.
That's weird.
Yeah, I don't want to say it's probably trying to prevent issues, but at the same time, it's like, if issues come up, we can deal with them. We can, if they happen. You don't have to just assume everyone's trying to be as big of an asshole as possible out of the gate. I don't know. But
Solving issues by making
the way I see it is like, I don't think that having Halloween on a weekend is safer.
No.
And I think it actually most likely make it a little more dangerous, but it would also mean that more people could participate overall, which would mean more money.
Yes.
I would understand why a company associated with Halloween would be trying to push for more money that way, but trying to say it's safer is like, it doesn't make sense to me. It's like, oh, people can't do it at night, and when people do it when it's dark, and that's dangerous. It's like, well, no, they don't anymore. Not really.
Yeah.
I think
on the weekend, staying up that late, they just can't do it. It's like, they don't do it anyway.
Yeah, I think that more people, when they associate fall, they associate it with pumpkin spice as opposed to like Halloween.
Right. And again, I mean, like, during the week, I mean, I'm not saying there's no traffic whatsoever during the weekdays, but during the weekdays, you can more or less time the traffic. You know when the traffic is the most busy. It's in the morning, it's morning rush hour, it's noon, and it's, evening rush hour. You've got those 3 points during the weekdays. And on Saturday and Sunday, it's all over the map. You're pretty much going to be stuck in traffic all day long. If you live in any kind of urban environment, then Saturday and Sunday are probably going to be busy traffic days. So,
I was just like, it's Saturday right now. I live in a small town. There's not really much going on, but I had to head to the pharmacy to pick up a prescription. So I went a little earlier, and it was just crazy traffic of people driving like assholes.
Right.
It's just how it is on Saturdays.
Pretty much.
You're talking about a city that has like one street to it. Like, it's just basically a line of buildings.
But yeah, I was still like driving down the parking lot. I'm trying to stay to the lanes and like just there. Yeah, it's a parking lot, but there's the marked lanes, and there's the part where it's got the line and it says stop in front of it, and you know where you're supposed to turn and where. And so I'm trying to turn and keep it going, and there's this person driving like an asshole just going diagonal across several lanes, because fuck it, who cares? But I'm there trying to drive safely, and they're almost going right into the front of me. And then they look at me like, and I'm like, I'm in the fucking lane!
This is actually pretty funny because Pudok actually mentioned next year Halloween is going to be on a Saturday.
That's funny.
Yes.
Oh man.
So you know what? I think that we can just leave it off right there.
Okay, yeah, let's just have a like, we're talking about Halloween, talking about happy stuff we do as kids. And we talk about, what I like doing as a kid and still like doing? Video games. But you know what else I like doing when I was a kid? playing video games that now are considered retro, because remember, I'm an old-ass motherfucker.
Yes, you are. Especially since you just had a birthday recently. So, I think that the first thing that I want to pull up, regarding about video games. So, let's talk about the Switch for a second. And let's talk about some of the upcoming video games that are going to be ported over to the Switch, because that's what apparently we're doing nowadays. Because why not? And I think that one of the games that I know that Decker has been looking forward to being ported over to the Switch is the first 3 Doom games.
Oh, it has come out right now. I have them.
Yes, that has come out. And that would be for Captain Toad Treasure Tracker for the Nintendo Labo, because they're going to do a VR experience, because of course they. At this point, every game should be on the Labo. Every game should have a virtual reality experience.
See, that's the thing. You think that it's, virtual reality makes me feel ill. No, what you gotta do is just force it into absolutely everything, and then you get an iron stomach, and you can play crappy virtual reality all day! Ha-ha! That's the good ending, right?
Sure, why not? Alright, so let me just pull... Okay. Besides announcing various sales milestones for games on Nintendo Switch and even hardware numbers today, Nintendo has 2 big announcements for Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. The Nintendo Wii U game has gotten an enhanced release for both Nintendo Switch and Nintendo 3DS, and added support for the Nintendo Labo Toy-Con 4 VR kit. This update brings the game to version 1.3.0. The update adds support to play 4 levels in VR using Nintendo Labo Toy-Con 4 VR kit, and these levels have their own menu. We cannot watch it because of copyright. While the update has been detailed by Nintendo in Japan, the update has gone live for the international game. I downloaded it a few minutes ago. Barring this update, Nintendo is doing something very interesting in Japan with its online paid subscription. Nintendo Switch Online paid subscribers will be able to download and play the full Captain Toad Treasure Tracker game for a limited time on Nintendo Switch. If you have a paid Nintendo Switch Online subscription in North America or Europe and have a Japanese Nintendo account with your Nintendo Switch, you can download the game right now to be able to play it when the trial goes live. Subscribers in Japan, as of now, can play the full game from August 5th through the 11th. The game itself will be discounted during the same time. As of this writing, there is no announcement of availability outside of Japan. This is a very interesting.
From what I saw on more news that has come up, I think it was Mario Strikers or Tennis Aces. Something is going to be available for the European market, and right now in America they have announced absolutely nothing.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much. Even Pudak. What happened to the news about the VR game People Who Did Miss? That got me finally interested in getting.
I haven't heard anything about that little project, which is unfortunate. Though Miss is an absolute pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
And Riven is even more of a pain in the ass. There's a lot of ass pain involved in those games.
Decker was very familiar with this.
Let's see. After Tetris 99, this is one of the to entice users to try out the paid Nintendo Switch Online subscription. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker is now available on the Nintendo Switch and the 3DS. So, yeah, Nintendo Labo edition of Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. Should be interesting when it comes out, if it does. We have a $5 comment from Dicker, I'm older than you, so shush, young man, waves Kane. Speaking of happy times, y'all gonna see Hank's Mr. Rogers, he who 4chan will defend.
Hank's Mr. Rogers? I'm confused.
I think they're talking about the upcoming Mr. Rogers movie that is Tom Hanks is gonna play as Mr. Rogers.
Ah.
Yeah. I'm definitely gonna see it. I saw the Mr. Rogers documentary last year, and I loved it. I cried.
I never really watched Mr. Rogers, so I'm just like, yeah, he's the guy people like, right? Like,
yeah.
I see videos of him, taking off his shoes a lot. I don't know what that's all about.
It was the thing that he did. It doesn't have to make it. It's like most action films. It doesn't have to make sense. It's just a thing that's
Sure. Fair enough. So yeah, I'm actually curious about like if there's going to be possibly any games for the Labo, because just mentioning that right now about Treasure Tracker, and I know that there are a few games on the VR.
From what I saw from the Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker little teaser for the Labo update, it's going to be more in line of the Labo experience for Super Mario Odyssey, that being it's going to be a very small thing on the side that you can probably finish in a half hour, and it's going to be specifically made for Nintendo Labo, and it's probably going to be fun if you already have Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker and you just have the Labo. It's going to be a little bit of added value. It's going to be a fun little distraction that you'll play one day and then completely forget about it. But that's better, in my opinion, than what the hell happened with the Labo integration for Breath of the Wild, which, dear God, why does that exist? Well, it is the thing to convince you, if you think that VR is a fad and it's completely pointless and it just will make everyone sick, that's the thing to help convince you that is absolutely the right belief. Oh God.
Well, don't worry, this won't be the dumbest video game coverage, so look forward to that. Yay.
Demon Orc on Twitch says they remember Mr. Rogers and they just get kind of WTF when they see Hanks trying to be him. Tara, don't knock down the Live and Wired mug. It's already broken. Like, it was sent through Dobby shipment. It's still like so. How is that even? Wait a minute. The handle, the part of the handle is on the outside and broken, right? I just see the handle.
That is typically how handles function.
Yeah, the handle's broken it's on the outside and it's shattered. All of the pieces are inside. I mean, I know I rolled it around a bit, and that'll move a lot of things around, but none of the shattered handle pieces are outside the mug. It's all inside, almost like it was broken before it was put in there and just thrown in it.
That's really weird.
Strangeness!
Stranger Things.
It's all a conspiracy.
Well, I've ordered the last of the Live and Wired mug designs that I've put together. The one that is currently available on Twitch in the Streamlabs store underneath the video player, where it's the black one with the Live and Wired on it, that it's supposed to actually like mask the design and just look like a black mug until you fill it with hot liquid or just something hot, and then that reveals the design on a white mug. Ooh, so swanky. So I'm going to see how that works out. It also says please don't put it in a dishwasher, so that's kind of annoying. But if I have one dish that I have to wash by hand and it's a mug, I can deal with that. Maybe.
You won't. You won't be able to.
No.
Like at one point, there will be this empty mug on your counter, and all of the other dishes will be in the dishwasher. There'll be room for one more, and you will just be glaring at this mug as if it's taunting you, mocking your existence, daring you to put it in there instead of washing it by hand. You see, Patricia, you think I'm joking, but we both know that this is true.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, thank you for letting me know that. All right, so let's go over to our next bit of news. I want Creepy to read this. So, last time on Live and Wire, we talked more in depth about the upcoming sequel to Top Gun Maverick. The trailer is already out.
The descriptions they gave just seemed to kind of miss the point. It's like, let's tone down the homoeroticism. It's like, why? Why would you ever do that? It's not Top Gun without homoeroticism, and you know it.
Pretty much.
It should be the Live and Wired poll. Can it be Top Gun without homoeroticism? The options are no, hell no, obviously not, and are you crazy?
I'm with this. Let's do this. Yeah, let's make that the Twitter poll.
No, that's not our Twitter poll, unfortunately. But I guess they really wanted to tone it down because they want to appeal to the upcoming kiddies who have never watched Top Gun.
Well, they're gonna have to learn sometime.
True. But while they're learning it, they can at least enjoy it alongside with brand new Top Gun toys and action figures courtesy of Mattel. So
I mean, if kids can't learn about homoeroticism from Top Gun, that means you're leaving them to learn about it on the street.
Oh my god. Alright, so here you go, creepy. Top Gun comes to life as Mattel partners with the film franchise. So we're going to expect to see a Barbie and Ken doll of the characters.
As long as you can take their shirt off and cover them in cooking oil, okay.
I want to see a Barbie, set with volleyball, and it comes with like the oil that you can spread into their chest. I want that to happen, Mattel. I hope you're listening. Okay.
Oh, we hope you're listening.
Okay, there you go, creepy. Continue.
Thank you. Okay, where were we? Toy maker Mattel Inc. announced Friday it had been named global toy partner for Paramount Pictures' Top Gun franchise, ahead of the sequel Top Gun Maverick, which is scheduled to debut in theaters June 2020. The deal gives Mattel the right to toys across multiple categories, including cast, vehicles, and aircraft, playsets, games, and other toys. The new line will bring moments from both the classic film and the sequel to life, appealing to fans of all age. Appealing to fans.
I thought it was just the connection having hiccups again.
Appealing to fans of all ages, Mattel said in a statement. So does that mean there's going to be a playset acting out the scene with the volleyball tournament and the ass slapping?
If it is a real thing, I will buy it.
We are thrilled. Note the use of word here. I just want to add, we are thrilled to bring Top Gun to life for both kids and their parents who undoubtedly fell in love with the franchise over 30 years ago. Well, they certainly fell in love with someone or something, said Jeanette Sue, Mattel Chief Franchise Management Officer. Our design-led approach has allowed us to recreate the high-octane action from the movie with a line of toys that will impress fans of all ages. Again, see previous.
Oh my god.
I broke my neck.
Woo! My god. Alright.
Yep. This is gonna be a thing.
Yes.
Remember how in the 80s when they were making toys for young boys based off of R-rated movies, when you had toys that were based off of Rambo, First Blood, and Terminator, and Alien. Well, now they are making toys based off of the gayest 80s military movie ever made.
Yeah, I like my little alien action figures. I had that. The ones that made no sense, had nothing to do with anything from any alien media, like the snake xenomorph with the mouth chunky, and then you got the little gorilla xenomorph where you just squeeze their head and they just go ah, and it's just like weird shit that has like no movie would ever have that, let alone it having been based on one of them.
I don't know. They had the dog xenomorph.
Well, it was actually, that was an ox xenomorph.
Oh boy, here we go.
It was changed to a dog in the theatrical cut, but in the director's cut, it was an ox.
Oh, there you go.
Hence, Bambi Burster.
Actually, that makes me think Xenoburgers.
God damn it! Now I'm hungry.
Now we just opened up a new chain, everybody. Eutonic Whaling Corporation's fast food joint. We have Xeno Burgers.
Where you have the two big patties of meat, where you open it up and another patty of meat comes out.
Yes.
Oh,
my God.
Patrick Johnson says, "Nerd!"
But yeah, you're absolutely right, creepy, about how there used to be like so many like weird toys based off of R-rated movies. Same thing with animated series too. I think we even talked about this when you were on my Back to the I think it was the Back to the Future podcast that we did a few years ago.
Yeah.
About how like there was just so many like weird animated series and toys based off of like these properties that should even be for kids.
Oh God, I remember. Like I had another toy was the bowl xenomorph, where you press a little spine on the back and the head just goes forward, and you like you click it back and you press a button, it's like and he smacks shit with his head. And I think they had that in Aliens Colonial Marines. Was one of the enemies. It was the bowl xenomorph. I'm pretty sure I remember that. I tried to forget most of that game, but
yeah,
I remember a big freaking xenomorph just running around and smashing its head into shit.
But yeah, there was a Rambo animated series and a Rambo line of toys, and there was also they didn't make a Terminator animated series, but they did make a Robo. They made two. I want to say they made two different RoboCop animated shows, and they had toy lines for them too. So yeah, there was stuff like Rambo, RoboCop.
Patrick Johnson's asking, wasn't there a Rambo cartoon?
Yeah, there was a Rambo cartoon. There was a Chuck Norris cartoon, if you can believe that.
Yeah, there was. There was a Chuck Norris cartoon. There was also a cartoon based off of called Toxic Crusaders.
It just cut your audio right based off of
Toxic Crusaders.
Toxic Avengers.
Toxic Avenger. Yeah, the movie was called Toxic Avenger, and it's like one of the goriest, and like they definitely wanted this to be an R-rated movie, but like, and then it got made into a kids animated show that had a very
kids love Toxie.
It had a very pro-environmental message, and it was very, very Captain Planet-y. Like,
yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like his motto was like, "It's cleanup time" or
something like that. Yeah.
And I know a lot of kids like Toxie. I actually held a Toxie head because no, I'm not joking. I met up with Lloyd Kaufman and I actually held a giant Toxie head. No, I'm serious. It's right here.
Congratulations.
That is a giant ass Toxie head.
Yes,
that is a very big one. Yeah. So like, I remember, like this is kind of getting off subject, but it's a wonder you don't review more Traumaville movies, Decker, because they do seem like the sort of thing that would be up your alley.
Oh yeah, I definitely like. Brianna Roberts says we already got a horror movie comedy called Poultrygeist, and yeah, that's like the one Traumaville movie that I have reviewed is Poultrygeist. Did it as a Thanksgiving special, if I remember right.
Yeah. And I remember there was one Traumaville movie that just freaked me out. It was Class of Nukem High. It was
they had a Kickstarter to have a sequel to that.
Yeah,
they did.
Yeah, it was like this toxic spill gets into the basement of a high school and it turns teenagers into punks or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. It's actually funny because the day that I met Lloyd, he actually asked me to visit Traumaville over at Traumaville, which is in Queens. I couldn't make it at the time because I was still at my job where I couldn't take a lot of days off. So I had Kevin to go over there for me. And he met up with Lloyd Kaufman and Michael Hers in person, and they took like this really nice tour. But I think that the offer still stands for if I ever go to New York next time, I could probably check it out. But I think that for the most part, when it comes to like these films, they're very in-house. They're not done by any like major studio. They do it all the funding by themselves. They get mostly local actors, and
That's been bothering me for like an hour. Let me get that real quick.
okay, sure.
Okay.
Josh Washburn asks, Creepy stream looks good. Nice, great, Creepy. Yeah, you don't look like that you have a potato anymore.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that for the most part with Trauma, it's definitely an acquired taste. If you can't get into it, that's perfectly fine. But for those who can get into it, they're like really can get into it. And yeah, and also somebody even mentioned about like Killer Tomatoes actually had a TV series as well.
Oh yeah,
that is true.
Yeah, I remember that one too. Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Yes.
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. One thing about those
over on Twitch, Demon Orc says, "Can we have a Troma film where Tom Cruise is the Toxic Avenger and dump him in real toxic waste?"
I only got about half of that.
Good.
Perfect. Okay. 10 out of 10.
From that statement, I can surmise that they want me to be dumped in toxic waste.
No, Tom Cruise.
Oh,
Tom Cruise.
Oh.
Okay. Maybe he'll turn into an Avenger. Then we can get him into the Marvel movies.
Blasphemer.
Vance McDonald, right. Mighty Ducks cartoon. I remember Mighty. I didn't really watch Mighty Ducks as a kid. I just remember it being ridiculously popular and understanding the basic premise. And I just like, why are there so many of these?
Yeah.
Why?
I mean, but the TV series has absolutely no movies because instead of like being about kids who are like these losers and they win a whole bunch of hockey games, it's about literal ducks playing hockey, and it's in outer space.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
okay.
What it was is what happened is basically Disney was trying to recreate the success that they had with DuckTales. They had been trying to recreate the success that they had with DuckTales throughout the entire 90s. Because if you notice, all of the Disney shows that they made after DuckTales tried to follow a similar formula. Tailspin was trying to be DuckTales. Goof Troop was trying to be DuckTales. Quack Pack was trying to be DuckTales 2.0, and yet nobody liked that one. Just about the only show that really wasn't trying to be DuckTales and became a huge hit was Darkwing Duck, and I feel like that actually has to do with the fact that it managed to be its own thing.
And also it is a spin-off of DuckTales.
True, yeah. But Mighty Ducks was their last attempt to ride the coattails of their own success with the DuckTales by making another Duck series. And it was about hockey playing alien ducks from another universe that come to Earth chasing after alien dragon people kind of thing.
Somebody was on a trip when they came up with that. It's like
that sounds like something that I would write. That sounds like, okay, I have the rights to make my own show. What will I do? Let me come up with the weirdest thing that I can think of. Mighty Ducks. Okay. Aliens. Hockey. Magic hockey mask. And fire-breathing dinosaur people.
Okay.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah. I actually liked that. I actually liked the Mighty Ducks. I mean, it has not aged well at all, but when it came on, I mean, I would watch it. I got a chuckle out of it. I remember there was this one line, it was basically play on Die Hard, where the Anaheim Pond, which is an actual place, it's an actual hockey stadium, but it was about to blow up, and they were trying to get the bomb out before it did. And suddenly the announcer, for the hockey game says, we're like, it's like, it's 2 minutes until the big game. I'm so excited I can explode. And I just remember even then, I was just, the first time I heard that, I was just sitting in front of the TV, and I just kind of narrow my eyes like, you had to go there, didn't you? But at the same time, I was still laughing about it.
Yes, it was pretty funny.
It was pretty funny. Yeah.
And all right, let's go over to our next. So, let's go into some weird video game news. So,
yes,
there's all this talk.
Playing as a treasure hunting mushroom in virtual reality is not weird enough for this show.
No, not even close. Neither is weird nor as confusing. So we have gotten some words that there might be a possible movie based on a particular video game. We've talked about our weird stuff. We've talked about the Tetris trilogy. We've talked about, God, who knows how many stuff that we've talked about. But this is one that is definitely in the books that we just need to just like talk about, because it's like, what? Okay, so get this. We're possibly going to have a video based off of Space Invaders. Yes, the classic arcade game from the 80s that has been referenced in so many movies, TV shows, and other video games is going to be having its own movie.
Just going to be watching them go back and forth at the top of the screen for 90 minutes.
Yes, pretty much so. Okay, so, Decker, I think it's your turn to read this one.
Okay. New Line is back on the launch pad with Space Invaders, ramping up the movie version of the classic Taito arcade game from 1978. Warner Brothers bought rights to the game several years ago, and New Line has hired Greg Russo to write this script after he wrote the reboot of Mortal Kombat for the studio that prompted a production start in South Australia later this year. Okay, Weed wrote... I'm just imagining people fighting over the rights to a Space Invaders movie. Like, okay, you're hired to write a movie adaptation of Space Invaders. Really? Yes, really. Get to it. Weed Road Pictures, Akiva Goldsman, is producing alongside Safe House Pictures partners Joey Harold and Tori Tunnell. It will take work fleshing into a full-fledged alien invasion movie, but the title is certain a brand. Yes? In the game, a series of blocky aliens descended from the top of the screen to the bottom, and players basically blasted them until their thumbs cramped. But the controls when they made the game didn't involve thumbs. It was a joystick and a button. Okay. Or the invaders succeeded in overwhelming the slow-triggered defender of Earth. And it was also, it was put together when computers really weren't able to pull off what they were trying, and everything was moving a lot slower than it was supposed to, and they're like, crap, this isn't going to work. And then they were testing it out, and they realized that when they killed enough of the aliens, the game sped up to the speed it was supposed to be going at. So they actually inadvertently came up with increasing difficulty. So okay, sounds like a plan, work with it! Russo has become a go-to guy for these high-concept adaptations of branded games. Besides Mortal Kombat, he's writing Death Note 2 for Netflix, and is adapting the video game franchise Saints Row for F. Okay. Gary Gray to produce and direct. He also rewrote the Resident Evil reboot at Constantine Film and Sony. Russo is repped by Verve Lit Entertainment Group and McQueen Frankel Whitehead. That's a sentence. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just glad that they're not making a movie based on Space Raiders, if you remember.
Hey, breaking up a bit there, Patricia.
Oh, sorry about that. Okay. Did you remember that there was a video game based on Space Raiders, which is a Space Invaders reboot that came out in the 2000s? That was it took place in the hood, and there were, guys shooting up aliens in the ghetto streets. And one of the scenes had a... Yes, this is a thing, by the way. And during one of the scenes of the story, yes, there's a story. There's actually a naked shower scene with one of the female protagonists. Yes.
Did they invade that space while they were at it, or?
I don't know, but
was it just there?
I think it was just.
I want to know how plot relevant this shower scene was.
Yeah, it's still to this day like one of the worst video games, like one of the worst reboots of a classic game ever made, and I don't think that they'll ever stoop that low into if this was to actually be a thing. It is a thing, but if it were to be a thing, then I just hope it doesn't turn out to be worse than Space Raiders.
Or Pixel. Or Pixels, plural. That was the name of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll give up.
All right.
With that in mind, of the lovely, lovely, happy news of a Space Invaders film, for some reason, there is the other question. We got lots of great classic retro games, and why haven't more of them been given the big screen treatment to become a blockbuster that we all have been waiting for decades?
Yeah, we've been waiting for these for so long. I mean, haven't you seen the outside?
I don't know how many nights I stayed awake wondering why there never was a Space Invaders movie, but now that is answered. So,
yes,
there are other movies that could be made, and that is where the Live and Wired poll comes in. As soon as I get back to it, because Twitter just updated. Okay, there we go. What classic game do you believe would make a great blockbuster movie?
Sponsored by Frosted Flakes.
Yes.
You just walked right into it.
Now, choice the number 1. Centipede, which, as we know, would be a horror film.
Yes.
Choice number 2. Yar's Revenge, the ultimate sci-fi experience. Choice number 3. Missile Command, the greatest war movie ever made. And finally, the adventure of a lifetime this summer, Pitfall.
Yeah.
This poll is on Twitter, at Decker Shadow, 30 minutes to go, starting now.
And as always, I'll share it in the chat.
Or I will. Haha.
Or you will. Oh,
I have access to my Restream chat, and I should be able to put it everywhere. So, if I can actually figure out how my windows work, this goes there, that goes there, this goes here, this goes... Yes! Okay. And it has... There it is. Yes. Okay. It has gone out to Twitch, Twitch. It has gone out to Twitch, Mixer, YouTube, and DLive. The chat box is all there. Yay.
Yay.
Did I put the right link? just checking. I gotta make sure of this.
We're professionals.
Yes, I did. Okay.
Okay. Awesome.
You see, this is why we don't let Decker do things.
All right. Well, while we do that, I guess next. So let me see if I can find something. Oh yeah, here's one.
Did I read the manual in the comic in the manual for Yar's Revenge? Asked Judson Gaiden or Gaiden.
Yes, it's Judson. Yes, it's Judson Gaiden. Hi.
Wire in my hair. I'm trying to push my hair back, and I keep catching the wire. And I'm like, But no, actually, I did not have the manual to Yar's Revenge. I just picked up Yar's Revenge at like a garage sale or something. It's just the cartridge, and I just played that on my Atari 2600. But I got many, many, many years after. Like, I'm not quite that old. Not quite. And I just know that the feel of Yar's Revenge tells me sci-fi. I don't have any idea what the comic's about. So I would be like the perfect guy for Hollywood to hire to actually write the script for the R's Revenge movie? Because I have no fucking clue. And that's what they love about writing scripts for video game movies.
Toby Kirby says, Patricia, you are breaking. I'm sorry.
Patricia, you are aching.
I'm sorry. I can't help it. But I hope to get it fixed pretty soon. All right, so let's go over to our next bit of news and to some possible upcoming sequels and prequels to movies, because we all love those, right? So this time around, we're going to... Yeah, I know, okay. So this time around, we're going to be talking about Rocky. Sylvester Stallone reveals that there is a Rocky sequel and prequel in the development.
Wait, so not Creed? Just because, like, okay, we're just going to sidestep that, make it another Rocky, fuck it.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I guess it makes sense for the prequel, because maybe it'll focus on a Rocky. But yeah, let's see what he has to say. I think it's my turn. Sylvester Stallone has revealed that a Rocky sequel and prequel are both currently in development. The legendary actor shared the news during a conversation with Variety, adding, "We're very anxious to make it." Rocky producer Irwin Winkler is also involved in the sequel, telling Variety, "We're very high," and adding that they hope to have Stallone write and direct the film, which will be about the aging boxing champ befriending a young fighter who is an undocumented immigrant. Wow, that's definitely interesting. Stallone also shared that there have been ongoing discussions about a Rocky sequel series, which he hopes to have land on a streaming service. There is no word on exactly where the storyline for that may be, but it will likely follow a young Rocky Balboa as a professional boxing hopeful. It is presumed that these two projects will exist somewhere between the recent Creed franchise that spun off of Rocky. And there's his Instagram post.
Patrick Johnson says, "I thought Stallone said Rocky's story was done." And yeah, he did, but money.
Yeah, and he also said that about Rocky Balboa. Yeah, you know what Sylvester Stallone always says, it's never over. Nothing is over. That's what I meant to say. Nothing is over. Additionally, Stallone also opened up for the first time about how he's been about not getting a better stake in the original Rocky film, which he both wrote and starred in. "I have zero ownership of Rocky," he told me. "Every word, every syllable, every grammatical error was all my fault." Stallone continued, said, "It was shocking that it never came to be, but I was told, hey, you got paid, what are you complaining about? I was furious." However, Stallone went on to explain that he holds himself partially responsible for the movie due to not being bold enough at the time to push harder. "You don't want to ruffle the feathers of the golden goose," he said.
Okay, Dark Solid X just dropped 100 bits. Thank you very much. I could not read what that comment on it was, and maybe I should try and see if I can find the events panel. That should tell me what it said. Okay, continue.
Winkler was also reportedly surprised to learn that Stallone harbored a slight grudge, as well as other individuals close to the production. "He made money from every angle and still does, so I don't know what he's complaining about."
Okay. I got the bits comment here. It says, "Decker, I'm disappointed. There is no choice for Ms. Pac-Man."
Well, technically, here's the thing.
Would that be a romantic comedy?
Yes. Yes, it would. But there have been so many Pac-Man series and Pac-Man, cartoons over the 80s, and even a few years ago, we even had a Pac-Man series. I mean, I guess for Pac-Man, sure, but Miss Pac-Man, I guess that would be kind of a different story, even though she was in the 80s. I think that what we were referring to was like cartoons or, video games that have not been adapted into any, like no cartoons, no movies, no, anything like that. So I think that's what he was referring to. But I would like to see a Miss Pac be in a romantic comedy.
Very true.
Okay. He made money from every angle and he earned at least $10 million apiece for each of the two Creed films. Ultimately, Stallone said that the issue boiled down to how passionate he was about the iconic film, and its story saying it's really a metaphor. This was a love story. He happens to box for a living, but the story is really about love for his wife, Adrian, played by Talia Shire. You root for the underdog, and he has something to fight for her.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I watched it, I'm like, this was a goddamn drama. They tricked me into watching a drama.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still good. But it's still, I was like, wait a minute, this is a drama.
Yeah. So what do you guys think? Do you think that Stallone has, or do you think that he is just constantly not appreciating all the money that he's making based off of these movies? Because I don't understand that.
So I don't know entirely what his financial situation is. It's like, yes, he made $20 million with the Creed series so far, but how much of that has he had to pay for what's in? I don't know all the details in his life. I would assume that he's doing pretty damn well. But
yeah, sure.
it's like with my own life. Lizard Reviews is now following on Twitch. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
On in my own life, like financially, I'm doing a hell of a lot better than I have for most of my life. I was about to say ever, but YouTube has cut me down quite a bit lately. But still, it's like I always have financial problems, financial things. Like I want to get this, I want to get that, I want to get all these things figured out, squared away. I want to fix up the car the rest of the way. I want to get a new computer. I want all these expensive things to try and make sure that things just work out nicely. I want to make sure that I have enough money for any kind of medical expenses that might come up. Those kind of things. But still, like, I could complain about all the money I don't have all day, but I can go out right now, buy a sandwich, wherever the hell I want a sandwich, and I don't have to worry about not being able to pay the light bill because I did that. And for the first, 35 years of my life, that wasn't the case. So I'm doing a hell of a lot better than I have for most of my life, and I really do appreciate that. Mm-hmm. So...
Oh my gosh, the real Mullen says, she's going to become this strong, independent pack who don't need no man. Oh yeah, that should be the tagline for sure. I'm going to trademark that, by the way.
So Kevin Burdine saying that they want fried chicken, and damn, now I'm hungry again. Anybody likes fried chicken? Something I don't know. There's shrimp. Everyone's talking fried chicken, shrimp. I'm gonna go to Popeyes real quick. There's few things in this town, but we have a Popeyes. Goddammit. Sadly, the seafood shop they were built right next to ended up closing down because of it, though.
Wait, a speedboat shop?
Seafood.
Oh, seafood.
There was another seafood shop. It was like a mom and pop store, but then the franchise store opened like literally right next door, attached to it in the strip mall there.
Uh-huh.
And a couple of months later, the local seafood shop shuts down. So now all we got is the Popeyes.
Yeah, there's a Popeyes not too far away from where I am, and also a Bojo as well, which I didn't really see it. There was.
Could you drive down to Popeyes real quick, get some fried chicken and shrimp? I love you.
Hey, if you're gonna do that, you might as well pick up before the rest of them.
Very true.
But no, but seriously, yeah, I think that Stallone. I can understand where he's coming from. Now, if it was like a character that he acted, like, oh, I deserve to have more, then yeah.
Breaking up still. Whoa, God.
Oh, I really need to fix this. I'm sorry.
You did this whole unfriended thing where, like, you were flashing in and out, I was like...
Okay, whoa.
Hello?
Okay,
everyone just disappeared.
I think we're being cursed.
I was going to say, the first live and wire that we use Discord, and it turns out we're haunted.
I don't think we had an issue like this since we started in Manic Expression, and we blamed everything on the paradox.
Yeah.
Hi, Tara.
Hi, Tara. But yeah, I was just going to say, now, if it was a character that Stallone acted as, then I can completely understand. It's like, oh, I'm like... in terms of like, oh, he's being greedy, he's complaining. But he actually wrote, directed, and starred in most of these movies. So, it's more than just like he acted the parts. Like, he knows the character in and out. And he worked really hard to making sure that these films came to life. So I think that it's a lot more justified as like, oh, I acted as this character, he's so iconic, I deserve more money. So
If it weren't for Stallone, there wouldn't be a Rocky.
Exactly.
Like, if he didn't stick to his guns and make sure that it worked the way in his vision that it did, it would have just been another kind of... Okay, Patricia, you are frozen completely.
Oh no, hold on. Give me 1 second.
You had a very concerned look on your face. It's like a frozen carbonite kind of thing. Like, but yeah, I mean, there were people who wanted to say, okay, you got this script, great, we'll take it, and we'll put a real actor in there, and we'll make it our way in Hollywood, and that'll be that. And Stallone stuck to his guns, is like, no, we have to make it like this. And that's why Rocky is the way it is. And if Rocky was just another Hollywood movie, I doubt it would have had the kind of longevity it does.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, that's pretty much it in terms of like Rocky news. But this is not the last bit of news of Sylvester Stallone for tonight. But we'll get to more onto that later.
Sarah, that's the closet. Cats don't go in closets.
All right, so let's go over to some more news. We're discussing about something that we talked about last time on Life and Wired. And that would be...
Brandon Kilgore's asking, do you ever miss the prestige and glory of working at Kroger? No.
Funny, that came up a couple of days ago where Decker and I were talking, and I brought up the fact that it had been 7 years since we did our first crossover together.
I mentioned like the reason I could go take the train ride down to Creepy's place.
I didn't take the train, you took a bus.
What? Oh, Greyhound, that's right. It was Greyhound I took. Oh, God, Greyhound. Oh, God. Oh.
You took Greyhound, and you hated it.
Yeah.
It was cheap.
I took train, like, I think the second time I went down there, I took a train. But the first time was Greyhound. And the train still sucked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But, I just... It went down there, and the whole reason I could afford that was because I had a regular job at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But still, I didn't like that. Not the thing for me. No. No Kroger. Brandon Kilgore says, Tara, meow. Tara, you got fans. They're rooting for you. They want you to get into that closet.
Of course.
I mean, I don't.
She has fans. Of course, she has fans, Sticker. She's a cat, and this is the internet. Like,
it's true.
Tara, girl, come on, girlie.
Yeah, so let's go over to our bit of news. So, the last time on Live and Wired, we discussed about the...
And we just get a little close-up of this kitty cat. There's a Tara girl. Say hi.
Hi, Tara.
Forget how small she is. She used to look huge. Now she just seems tiny.
On the contrary, I have to say the other way around, because I remember when Decker first got her, she was just like a small little kitten.
She didn't get any bigger, technically. She was skinnier when I first got her, and being a stray.
Oh.
But she... I assumed she was like 8 months old because of how big she was. But she never grew any larger. So I'm like, oh,
I see.
Okay. She just filled out a bit, but that's it.
Oh, okay.
Does she still do that thing where if you flush the commode, she'll like jump up on top of the seat and watch?
Yes. She's taken it when Charlie uses the bathroom. Tara will jump into Charlie's chair and watch her.
Mm-hmm. How cute.
And mildly disturbing.
Yes.
All right. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. Halloween Kills.
Okay, you're frozen again, Patricia, but this time you're frozen with a big smile on your face.
Yeah.
So it's a little more pleasant. I don't know what's going on.
I'm thinking Discord hates me.
Possibly.
So... I was just about to say, for Halloween Kills, we discussed about that on the last episode of Live and Wired, where it was going to be having, the 2018 Halloween movie was going to have 2 or 3 other sequels. One of them was Halloween Kills. That's going to be the next one. It's going to be coming out next year. So I'm going to be announcing 2 possible cameos, at least that's been reported. So let's discuss about the first one. Let me just pull this up real quick.
Big Chungus did a film, asks Brandon Kilgore? Possibly.
Wouldn't be surprised. Okay, here we go. So the first one is Paul Rudd as his character of Tommy Doyle. So, Creepy, it's your turn.
Tommy Doyle, who appeared in 1978's Halloween and was later portrayed by Paul Rudd in 1995's Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, will reportedly return... in director David... God damn it! It's like I'm fine until I start reading and then I get the hiccup. Will reportedly return in David Gordon Green's sequel franchise. Collider's Jeff Snyder and Variety's Justin Kroll reported the scoop.
That's what I forgot to do. I just realized that I'd forgot to actually share out to everywhere that I was doing Live and Wired. So I'm like, yeah, the views are a little bit down this time. Wonder what's going on. Oh yeah, that's right. I'm relying on YouTube's notifications to actually get people to watch. That's where I went wrong.
Oh.
Okay, you were saying.
Anyway. Reported the scoop on the Snyder Cut podcast, where Snyder said Rudd was approached for the role in new continuity. They wanted Rudd, but they actually just realized that he couldn't do it because of scheduling, I guess. So it sounds like they're going out to someone else, not Kroll said, admitting the facts surrounding the character and Rudd's involvement are a little wary.
What, the facts are where? What the hell does that mean?
I was wondering that too. Kroll added, 2 people have made it clear that there's someone else they have already asked. Rudd is currently on Jason Wright's Ghostbusters 2020, now filming in Calgary, Alberta, which Snyder and Kroll theorizes could conflict with the reported October shooting start on Halloween Kills. Tommy was the young boy in the care of babysitter Laurie Strode, Jamie Lee Curtis, in 1978's Halloween, where he was played by Brian Andrews. 2018's 40 Years Later Halloween was that film's direct sequel, ignoring all 9 other franchise entries, including The Curse of Michael Myers. There, Rudd's now 25-year-old Tommy was somewhat disturbed, mentally scarred from his encounter with the Shape on Halloween night, 1978, and lived opposite single mother Cara Strode, I'm assuming, Marianne Hagen, who occupied Michael Myers' former home. The character also made a cameo appearance in 1988's Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, where he was depicted as a teenage drugstore clerk played by Danny Gray. Michael Myers actors Nick Castle and James Jude Courtney will reprise their shared role in the sequels. Judy Greer and Andy Malchak, I guess. Mattychak, okay. Who played Laurie's daughter, Karen, and granddaughter, Allison, respectively, are expected to return alongside Curtis. Halloween Kills is dated October 18th, 2020, and Halloween Ends October 15th, 2021.
Yes, okay. And I'm just going to click on this article right here because that is actually the
after they do succeed in making it so Halloween's the last Saturday of October, they're going to have another movie. Halloween can't make up its fucking mind.
Yeah. All right, so it's Decker's turn this time to read off the next set of cameos that they would like to have in Halloween Kills.
The original Halloween star Nick Castle will reprise his role as Michael Myers in Blumhouse sequels Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends after briefly filling out the form of the Shape in 2018's Halloween. A 40-year-old Myers was primarily played by franchise newcomer James Jude Courtney, who Castle confirmed will also be returning as the Masked Murderer. So we're going to have lots of Michael Myers. Just everywhere. Mm-hmm. Michael Myers. There's going to be wheelchair Myers in this. I don't know. You can't kill the boogeyman. Just heard the news. I'm coming back. Castle tweeted Thursday. In a subsequent tweet, Castle wrote, I'll be returning, but You know Big Game James still got the torch. Courtney, who hails from a stunt background, previously told Halloween movies he's learned how to kill from an ex-mafia hitman. Well, that's better than experience. The actor added he was tapped by producer Malika Todd and writer-director David Gordon Green because he captured the shape's movements first established by Castle in 1978, John Carpenter's directed Halloween. Why Todd and Green brought me in is because it's just the way I move. It's a place that exists, and my job was to find that place, Courtney said. It's a living, breathing place where I go, and that place, everything is natural. Right, words, I read. I just do what that space dictates, which was created by Nick and John and Deborah Hill, and which has lived and breathed all these years. Okay. Courtney described his 61-year-old Myers as a bad motherfucker, one who's not going to lose his strength, his virility, his power, and his focus, even after spending 4 decades locked away in a sanitarium. He's taking the hits. Gordon, again, directs kills and ends, and a continuation of last October's hit that ended with Laurie Strode, Jamie Lee Curtis, and her terrorized family, daughter Karen, Judy Greer, and granddaughter Allison, Andy Matichak, trapping Myers in a house fire. And then driving off and being all weird about it. Halloween Kills and Halloween are dated October 16, 2020 and October 15, 2021, respectively. Have you subscribed to Comic Book Nation? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe you're just schlepping.
Yeah. All right, so at least we know for sure about these possible cameos. So I guess that's probably gonna.
Super chat. $10 super chat by the eccentric necromancer says, "Hey Decker, I made that reaction video. It was of your Die Hard review." Now that's interesting because that's one that I remember, but not entirely because it's been a while. So it's not. It is one of my older videos by now, but not super old.
No.
So that's interesting to me. I'm wondering.
Yeah, it should be interesting. All right. I think that it's about time to go over to our poll.
No, 5 minutes left.
5 minutes left. Okay.
We've got 56 votes so far. 2
Yay.
Pretty high up, not quite neck and neck, but it could change if there's enough people jumping in right now. And 2 that are kind of neck and neck for the end.
Okay, that's something.
So it was a very split down the middle. Like 2 were super popular and 2 were not popular at all.
Yeah, it looks like you can kind of guess it based on, well, knowing what kind of audience the channel has.
Mm-hmm. All right, so in the meantime, let's discuss about our next set of news. So with all this talk about the Halloween, both the holiday and the movie, people seem to also discuss about candy. So in our bit of weird merchandise that we sometimes like to talk about in Live and Wired.
Sweet.
Yes, candy. Yes, candy. So
still practicing the dad jokes.
Yeah. So with that said, for the candy,
Vincent Von Holt is asking, "Wait, where do I hoe to vote?" I am putting the Twitter poll back in the chat. Should be coming up. There it is. It's just a link to Twitter @DeckerShadow, and that link will go directly to the poll where you may vote.
Yes, you only have a few minutes. But in the meantime, let's talk about the candy. So Skittles is deciding that they are going to release their very special version of their candy brand in honor of the upcoming holiday, and it's going to be zombie themed. And interestingly enough,
blood and brains candy.
Well, it's actually called Zombie Skittles. New Zombie Skittles bags have rotten zombie flavored candies hidden inside.
Why would you want the taste of a rotting zombie?
I immediately asked that.
I get the whole Bertie Bott's every flavor bean thing going on, but
yeah,
there's certain, like, you get the sardine bean, you're like, ooh, sardine, not so great. It's not what I'd want out of a jelly bean. You get the earwax bean, you're like, bitter and disgusting, no good. Rotting corpse is something that is just a little bit far for that.
Yeah.
Very true. So let's see what it has to say. For the past 10 years, Jelly Belly has been offering up boxes of jelly beans.
Or are they actually just the durian flavored?
Yes. Jelly Belly has been offering up boxes of jelly beans under their Bean Boozled umbrella, which featured gross flavors like stinky socks, dead fish, and spoiled milk, mixed in with delicious flavors like Tutti Frutti, coconut, and birthday cake.
I'm going to have to question them on that coconut one.
The idea being, you don't know if you bite into it if you'll get a tasty one or a disgusting one. It looks like Skittles will be taking a page out of the Jelly Belly book this Halloween season, where they unleash Zombie Skittles, sure to be one of Halloween's 2019's grossest delights. The gimmick here is that the Skittles will taste like rotten zombie, has been randomly mixed into each bag. In other words, you don't know if you're tasting the rainbow or human flesh until it's too late.
Okay, can I stop you right there?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
How did the taste testing for this product go down? Like, I want to know how...
They had the lineup of actual zombies.
Right, I want to know, okay, how did these people who were testing this product, how did they know what dead human flesh tasted like? Like, they had to have prior knowledge before this went down. So how did they find that out? And B, how did the company learn that about them? Okay. I feel like this is relevant to know, okay? Given the subject, the conversation we're having right now, I feel like this is relevant. How did this happen?
Let's continue, shall we? The candies flavored like rotten zombie will be completely indistinguishable from the candies, so they can be any color of the rainbow. Going the extra mile, each normal flavor has been given a fun Halloween name. Petrifying Citrus Punch, Mummified Melon, Boogeyman Blackberry, Chilling Black Cherry, and Blood Red Berry. With Halloween less than 100 days away, expect Zombie Skittles to be in stores real soon.
Oh, yes. Boy.
We have reached to that point, everybody.
Yeah.
Zombie Skittles.
I stand by my questions. How did
that... got a question from Judson Gaiden saying, Decker Shadow, have you ever played through the Zombie Island of Dr. Ned DLC for the original Borderlands as Mordecai with a sniper class mod with ammo regen using nothing but Jacob's XX guns? And I was about to say yes up until all of the different stipulations came on. It's like, Zombie Island of Dr. Ned. Played that? Yes. Played through that? Yes. Played through that as Mordecai? Yes. Nothing but Jacob's weapons? Yes. With the ammo regen mod and the XX class things. Okay, no. 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 Damn it. So close.
Yes, very close.
The zombie game that I remember enjoying the most was not even Resident Evil. It was a game for the Super Nintendo called Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that game.
Yeah, it was a 2-player co-op game where you could run around, and basically you had different types of neighbors, and you had to rescue them before they got eaten by monsters. Once you had, cleared the board of all the neighbors.
I'd get to the baby, and then he would kill everybody.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, damn it. And then I'd have to take the baby down to shrink it into a baby that I have to save. I'm like, I'll save you now. You just killed half the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Daniel DB631 is asking, did you guys already discuss the second trailer for The Dark Crystal?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
And the Twitter poll has completed.
Hey!
Okay. So, coming in at... We got 69 votes total for the final results. Coming in at number 1 with 45% of the vote is the ultimate in horror, Centipede.
Nice.
Which I assume is going to be kind of like those parts of the giant bugs from Peter Jackson's King Kong.
Yeah, it could be like those creepy bug features from the 50s, like the giant ants and the giant spiders and all that stuff.
Coming in at number 2 with 38% of the vote is Pitfall, which is pretty much kind of like Indiana Jones, except the guy's named Harry. and there's no lady to save. And he keeps falling down pits. But it's cool because he can jump on the alligator heads to get by. And he has to do that quite a lot for some reason.
Yeah.
And coming in at tied for third place, tied for last place, we have a tie between Yar's Revenge and Missile Command.
Aww.
I thought Yar's Revenge would do a little bit better because it is considered one of the best video games of all time.
I thought that Missile Command would have done great because it's a classic arcade game that a lot of people grew up with in the Atari.
Okay, Toasted Hoagie Gaming says the only way that it would work for Centipede is if they use practical effects over the use of standard horror tropes and CGI. Well, might as well call it Centipede-demic.
Oh.
Oh.
Speaking of which, do you know that there's a Clownado?
There's a Clownado.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Tara, what are you doing? You can't get
yes,
in the
Decker,
cabinet.
let the cat distract you.
You're not supposed to get in the cabinet. It's not the place for cats.
I'm waiting for the day when they have exhausted all other scary things that they can put inside of a tornado, and then they'll just get desperate and.
I remember back in my day, tornadoes by themselves were scary.
Right.
Now you gotta have them full of sharks and some shit. I don't understand.
Right. I'm waiting for Flamingo NATO. Where flamingos are it'll be kind of like Alfred Hitchcock's Birds for the first half of it, where flamingos go on a rampage and attack people, but then a tornado comes down, it sucks up all of the flamingos, and now there is this killer flamingo NATO on a rampage.
I can imagine what the trailers would be like. The flamingos are not pink because of brine shrimp. They're pink because of the blood of humans.
Caitlin Mail is asking, "Hey Decker, why haven't you reviewed Blade yet?" Because I told Creepy A I need a little bit of time to work on other things. True story. Oh boy.
All right, so let's go over to our next set of news. So, with the recent release of Avengers Endgame, the fact that now it is currently the highest grossing movie of all time, thanks to you guys not wanting to have Avatar be in that spot for so long.
So that's the movie I would make. Brandon Kilgore just said, "Motherfucking chainsaw tornado." I would make that movie. It's a tornado full of chainsaws.
Chainsaw-nado.
Chainsaw-nado.
I can imagine the implications. Everybody would just be either dead or just completely severed with missing limbs.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be at least one character who's almost decapitated and is carrying his head so that he could be able to survive. Anyway, so for those who haven't seen Endgame, there's a part in the story that involves with a little time travel. And there might be some spoilers there for those who haven't seen it, so I'm sorry. And there's this actual person, more specifically a quantum physicist, who discussed about to the writers of Endgame, saying that they use the Back to the Future logic of time travel and how it's complete nonsense. So let's go into that, shall we? And there might be spoilers, so there's a bit of a warning for you. So, Creepy, it's your turn.
Okay. Here we go. A quantum physicist told the Avengers Endgame writers time travel depicted in Back to the Future is bullshit, a word of advice ultimately incorporated into a line of dialogue uttered by Ant-Man, Paul Rudd. Back to the Future is bullshit, co-writer Stephen McFreely said at a San Diego Comic-Con when asked what the Avengers scribes learned from consulting with an expert. Co-writer Christopher Marcus added it was a direct quote from a physicist. What other franchise could do what we were allowed to do. Go back to the other movies to get your 6 MacGuffins and bring them forward to solve your problem, and allow yourself to do all sorts of emotional triage as you do it. People get to meet their fathers and mothers and whatnot, McFreely said. But if you operated by Back to the Future rules, every time you went back and came back, you would have a new Biff's Casino, McFreely said of Back to the Future Part 2, where Marty McFly's time travel hijinks inadvertently altered his present-day reality for the worst. So, you can imagine that if every time a new universe was created, we would get nowhere, and we wouldn't know how to solve any one, because which one did what? It was not helpful to us, and we were worried that maybe we couldn't even do this idea.
See, I'm just getting to the part where Cell has eaten the androids, and time is all fucked up. So... Back to the Future sounds like a really simple timeline to follow in comparison.
Marcus and McFreely then consulted with the quantum physicist who helped them realize Rudd's Scott Lang, and his familiarity with the quantum realm was the key to Endgame's time travel. The physicist said, "It probably doesn't work that way. As much as I love those movies, it probably works this way. If it works, again, which it doesn't," McFreely said. So the idea that a branch reality is a quantum travel, we got Scott Lang, maybe we can do something with this. There's a lot of light bulbs going off when we did some homework. For explaining the Marvel Cinematic Universe's rules of time travel to audiences, Marcus and McFreely zeroed in on movie references and a scene of exposition in which 2012's Ancient One, Tilda Swinton, demonstrates to Hulk, Mark Ruffalo, what happens when the Infinity Stones are removed from their respective places in the timeline. We had to boil our time rules down to something and carry it, and it came down to the stones. The stones are going to hold the universe in place effectively. Take them out, things start happening, Marcus said. This is the pleasure of having this universe to deal with. We needed someone to explain it. Who's the most entertaining explainer in the Marvel Universe? Let's get Tilda. She's not dead back then. We can get her. Touching back on Back to the Future, McFreely said, "It's Doc Brown on the chalkboard. We called it that a lot. Turns out we had to do that a number of times. The whole Hulk explanation, hot tub time machine, all that stuff, that was in large part because we showed it to some test audiences, and every time Nebula shot old Nebula from 2014, everyone said, 'Why doesn't she disappear?' Because we told you it doesn't work that way," McFreely continued. But we had to really underline it, so we go out of our way to just exposit the hell out of it. Avengers Endgame is available to own on digital HD July 30th and on 4K Ultra HD and Blu-ray August 13th. Have you subscribed to Comic Book Nate? And then never mind.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I know. It's like really complicated. It's like, oh yeah, we want to do a story about time travel, but now we need to get this quantum physicist to say like, it's possible because of this reason, it's not possible because of this reason. So at least they did their homework on that, but still, it's just really complicated.
Jesse Gallardo says, "There are many versions of time traveling, and to be honest, it's better not to fuck with the past."
That is true.
Yeah. But
Toby Kirkby said that it's glorious that we live in one of the 17 million endings where Howard the Duck is in the highest grossing movie of all time. He's not wrong, by the way. But yeah, even still, it's like super complicated to like think about time travel.
Yeah,
for all the people,
the idea of alternate dimensions and multiverse and time travel to future, past, all this stuff. Technically, time travel to the future is, obviously possible. I mean, we are doing it right now. We are currently traveling into the future at normal speed.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how it works. But suspended animation and then just popping out, like, that's also possible. But that's the whole thing with freeze yourself. Technically possible, but not really with current technology, because you're going to destroy your entire cellular structure because we can't freeze cells fast enough.
What he said.
But if you take too long to freeze something, the ice crystals form too large, and they will puncture cell walls. And when all the cells in your body have effectively been damaged, thawing out, you don't feel so good. You don't make it too long. It's like,
Which is why Decker Decker really enjoyed the Demolition Man explanation of how people survive being frozen. They're basically flash frozen.
Yeah, that was really, really good and important. Like, if you take a strawberry, you can freeze it yourself. When you thaw it out, what happens? It turns to goo. That's because all the crystals have just popped all over the cells.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens. And that's what would happen to a person that you would attempt to thaw out after freezing them in normal means.
Mm-hmm.
It's not pretty. Suspended animation ain't going to work with that.
But if you freeze them fast enough, if you just basically literally flash froze them, suddenly they're in a cylindrical cube that's, is fully frozen and nothing but ice. So they can just stay there for the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years, however long.
Now, moving into the past with time travel, with the understood laws of physics, that would pretty much require moving faster than the speed of light, which is, as you know, not possible with the laws of physics. No. Not that we know of any way to do it.
Very true.
Was it a movie I was doing a riff of or something? Where they actually did have some sort of time travel stuff going on, and it was a movie I was riffing on Patreon and for YouTube channel members. And there was a really stupid explanation. They tried to logic their way to explaining going faster than the speed of light, and it was so ridiculously dumb. And I'm like, no, you just created a logical argument to try and say that you found something that can push light faster. It doesn't work that way. This is a terrible explanation. It's a logical argument that doesn't work. If you can't explain how your time travel works, just don't.
You also have the Assassin's Creed explanation of traveling into the past.
Oh, the virtual reality with the genetic memory?
Yeah.
Well,
with the animus.
I mean, okay, what I was thinking more of was basically astral projection. Projecting yourself, your mind, your spirit into the past and inhabiting your body from a younger time period, but you have the knowledge and experiences and memories of when you were older.
Mm. Yeah, time travel is confusing.
And this is the one that pisses Decker off the most because I said astral projection.
All right, so before Decker gets more angry, let's go over to our next article. So there might be some possibilities of another Resident Evil game because Capcom is looking for Resident Evil fans to test play a new game that they are developing.
Well, it doesn't necessarily mean that it is Resident Evil, just that they want fans of Resident Evil to give their opinion on this because they're trying to sell them something.
That could be a possibility, true. I mean, it could be Dino Crisis. So, there you go.
Now you're just teasing me, Patricia.
I mean, what else could it be?
Oh, God, to think of Dino Crisis in the Resident Evil 2 engine. Think of that! My God!
How come Dino Crisis never got a movie? Or was it just because it was too much like Jurassic Park?
Dino Crisis was pretty much just... You want to watch a Dino Crisis movie, watch Jurassic Park.
Yeah, okay. And considering the time that Dino Crisis came out, it would have been directed by Uwe Boll. And would have had an asylum. And it would have had an asylum-sized budget.
Oh, an Uwe Boll Dino Crisis movie. I can imagine. I can imagine.
No.
Like, it'll be like that weird script for Jurassic Park 4 where there were actual, like, half-human, half-dog, half-dinosaur soldier men. Mm-hmm. That would be the Uwe Boll Dino Crisis movie. Anyway, whose turn is it to read?
Who read the last one?
I think I did.
Okay, so it's Decker's turn.
Okay.
With the last two entries in the series earning stellar reviews and plenty of fan admiration, Capcom likely isn't stopping the Resident Evil train anytime. And today, it sounds like we might be closer to whatever is in store for the next zombie-bashing, herb-munching series that may have been expected. I don't know. Eat the herb! Capcom Division 1 recently sent out an email for Japanese members of its Resident Evil Ambassador community. The email states that the company is recruiting testers for a game that's in development. The offer appears to be exclusive to Japanese members, with the testing to be conducted in September. The news isn't too surprising, given that Capcom told the public multiple games are using the RE engine that are in development during the last earnings report. We might not know anything about this game. This could be some kind of spin-off after all, but there's certainly enough meat on this bone for fans to tear into as they speculate what's next for Resident Evil. For more on Resident Evil, check out our reviews on the remake and 7. Yeah. Alright, Javi.
Woohoo. Alright. So, if it's not a Resident Evil game that they're hiring, that they're developing, I meant, for Resident Evil fans to try out, then what else could it be? That is the question.
I still really want Dino Crisis. I played the hell out of Dino Crisis 2, which is supposed to be the shitty one, but it's the one I had, and I got really good at it. I don't know. Dino Crisis 1, I've seen lots of stuff of it. It looks really fun. Looks like it's a lot more horror than Dino Crisis 2 was.
Yeah, it was definitely more horror.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting, because every time that they do, like, a survival horror movie, or, video game, I meant to say, they always lean more towards, like, the atmospheric horror, and then later on develop into, like, an action game.
Yeah.
That's kind of happened in Doom 3, as I'm playing it now.
Yeah.
Like, when it came out, my brother played it mostly on our computer, and I didn't really get to play it much. Also, our computer couldn't play it very well anyway. Yeah. So now that it just came out again, I'm enjoying it for the first time. I've gotten further than I ever did in the game, and I'm getting to the parts where I've gotten past the beginning, where everything is very slow, very dark, and there's a couple of zombies pop out here to scare you. There's one pink demon that attacks you over here. And I've gotten past all that where they try and scare you with the stuff shifting around the corners, and now I'm at the part where they just start throwing demons at you. It's still dark, you still can't see shit, but every time something happens, you better check behind you, because they spawn there too. There's just constantly things throwing fireballs, trying to kill me. I got 3 pink demons chasing me down the hallway. I got 12 imps spawned in. I got these little babies with insect wings coming after me. I'm being attacked by babies! I don't understand what's going on.
Dogs and cats living together.
Mass hysteria!
Let me see. Brandon Kilgore says, Patricia, maybe it's a city builder game to remake Raccoon City. Yes, because everybody loves to see Resident Evil The Sims. Let's invite people over for a party, and then we burn them. Then we can have aliens come on by, and then we can go to our regular job.
Congratulations! You are rebuilding Kento gun shop. Oh no! It looks like the police department is being attacked by a horde of zombies. Where's Mr. X now in the city? Oh, he stomped the orphanage. Gotta build another one now.
That would be... Actually, I would like to kind of see that now.
Meanwhile, Dicker is staring at his computer wondering why none of his NPC characters will have sex with each other, so that the population will go up.
So you've seen the Banished videos.
You titled it that. You were literally titling the video, Why You No Have Sex.
Well, they wouldn't. The population was like nothing. And I needed workers, and they're just like, you know what? Let's all just die of old age together. This town was an interesting idea, but oh well.
Justin Guidance says, what about a Resident Evil FPS game done right, like Survivor completely reworked to play like a real FPS game, or better yet, a zombie game based off of Romero/Fulci rules? That could be a possibility. I mean, Night of the Living Dead is in the public domain, as mentioned before, so maybe they can adapt a game based off of that. But the original one, not the other games. But the other movies. But that could be a possibility. If we are talking about Capcom and Resident Evil fans and developing a new game that's catered specifically toward the Resident Evil fans, it definitely has to be a survivor horror game. I cannot imagine, hey, we need to have Resident Evil fans specifically so that we can be able to test out, I don't know, like a new Mega Man X game or something.
I find myself.
We need to bring in Resident Evil fans to find out once and for all whether or not they're going to love this new mobile game we've come up with.
Oh no. They did that already with Breath of Fire. We don't want to have another incident like that.
I want to see the Resident Evil game that just throws its hands up and say, you know what, we're stealing from John Romero. Let's not hide it anymore. And they set it in a shopping mall. You know, where basically the whole game from start to finish is, you know, you have to basically, you know, like since you have different stores, you know, you can like take different items and build weapons with them. Like you could literally make chainsaw swords for yourself if you wanted to, but you have to get from point A to point B. You have to get the stores. Oh, you have to get the store open, or at least the, you know, the cage thing. I forget what they call it. That's always in front of the.
Have you played Dead Rising?
No.
You should.
That's basically it. Oh, okay. Well,
yes, that is Dead. Oh, and that was also done by Capcom, by the way. So you just said the concept of Dead Rising. And Nerdma says, "Don't you people have phones?" Exactly. Oh, Patrick Johnson says, "Hey, Resident Evil fans, test out our new Mega Man soccer game. Why are you running? Come back."
Oh, Mega Man Soccer was so good, though.
But not to hire Resident Evil fans.
Well, they gotta. That's where most of their fans are right now. So fuck it. Gotta get somebody in here to test the game.
It's interesting that you said Mega Man Soccer, because I remember there was this episode of Captain N the Game Master. I want to say it was season 2, where the Captain N, Mega Man, like all of them, had to fight. They had to play a game of football against Dr. Wily's Robot Masters. And all of the Robot Masters were wearing football gear. And so it wasn't soccer, but it was, you know, a sport where basically like half the episode was just them playing a football game against all of the Robot Masters. And this would have been around the time where the Mega Man games were only up to Mega Man 2. If Mega Man 3 had come out yet, it had just come out. But so that in the episode they only had the Robot Masters from the first and second game, but they still had there was still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That was still 14 robots, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was still 14 Robot Masters that they had showcasing in the episode. So, but yeah, they're running down the field and Bomb Man is chucking bombs, and there are just these action movie explosions behind Captain N as he's racing towards the goal.
Isn't it against the regulations to blow your opponent up?
Not in Mutant League Football for the Sega Genesis, where you actually get to pummel them until they turn into pieces.
that had a cartoon series as well for all of 2 episodes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then there was this at one point where they were actually flying towards the goalpost on those platforms that had propellers underneath them that were, you know, they just said, screw this, jumped on one of those and just took off. And actually, I want to say they actually scored a goal by doing that.
Oof. People in the chat, though, Creepy, have specified you need to play Dead Rising 1 and avoid Dead Rising 4.
Okay. But
2 and 3 aren't quite in the mall and all that stuff, but they're still good games. Dead Rising 4, not so much. But Dead Rising 1 is the one that takes place in the mall.
Okay, Jesse Guajardo asked, "Hey, Creepy, are you going to review Scooby-Doo Return to Zombie Island?"
Yes, I will. Eventually. Decker and I have something planned for next.
Okay, so there you go. So let's go over to our next bit of news.
Patricia, how about in regards to the title of this stream, the one that is sort of related to that?
Oh, what's the title of the stream again?
The Answer to Everything.
Oh, okay. So let me see if I can find that. The answer to everything. You'll have to refresh my memory again.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Oh, that's right. Now I remember. Thank you. Okay, so yeah, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Yeah. Oh, now I just got it. Damn it. Why didn't I get it the first time?
That hurt so bad it made your camera blink out.
Oh man. Okay, I'm back. I don't know why I missed that the first time. I guess I'm tired. It's almost 10 o'clock, people.
Yeah.
Okay, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Just click on this. We are, for those who are wondering, yes, we are finally going to get a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy TV series, because that's what you always wanted, right? Yes. I know you did.
Well, if it's anything like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy video game, it's going to not exactly be what you would expect at first from a TV series, but probably what you would expect from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah. All right, so I think it's my turn. Douglas Adams' comedy sci-fi classic Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is heading to American television. I have learned that Hulu is developing a TV series adaptation of the novels from prolific showrunner Colton Hughes, Lost, Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan, Lock and Key, and features writers Jason Fuchs from Wonder Woman, Ice Age Continental Drift. The project hails from ABC Signature, the cable/streaming division of ABC Studios, where Hughes and his genre arts production company are under an overall deal. A British popular culture staple, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy originated as a comedy radio series and became a hugely successful series of novels that has been translated for more than 30 languages and has become essential reading for high school students around the world. The series follows the intergalactic adventure of Arthur Dent, a hapless Englishman, following the destruction of Earth by the Vogons, a race of unpleasant and bureaucratic aliens. Hughes and Fuchs, both fans of the iconic title, will write, executive produce, and showrun the proposed series, a modern updating of the classic story, which is now in development at Hulu via ABC Signature and Hughes' genre arts. Fuchs is writing the pilot script. Disney owns the Hitchhiker's Guide IP, because of course they do. The studio produced the 2005 star-studded feature adaptation, in which Arthur was played by Martin Freeman. The cast also included Sam Rockwell, Mos Def, Zooey Deschanel, Bill Nighy, John Malkovich, Stephen Fry, and Alan. In the UK, Arthur was played by Simon Jones on the original radio series and the subsequent TV series adaptation. Lindsay Springer, president of Genre Arts, is executive producing the TV series project alongside Hughes and Fuchs. Another Adams TV adaptation, Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency, recently aired on BBC America for 2 seasons. Hughes is executive producing the upcoming Netflix series Lock and Key, which we have discussed about in Live and Wired. You should go check that out. Under his big overall deal at ABC Studios, he has two high-profile projects at the upcoming direct-to-consumer platform Disney+. One of the TV showrunners for the past 2 decades, Hughes also co-ran ABC's Lost. His recent showrunner/co-showrunner credits include Amazon's Jack Ryan, as well as Bates Motel, The Strain, Colony, and The Return. He is managed by Syndicate Entertainment. The writing credits for Fuchs, who is also an actor, also co-penned Wonder Woman and Ice Age Continental Drift, and is writing Pan and I Still See You. In television, he wrote and executive produced the ABC pilot Big Thunder, based off of the Disneyland ride. He is managed by Brookside Artist Management. So, yes.
Why do we always have all of these shows based on rides?
Your guess is as good as mine. We've had Pirates of the Caribbean, Tomorrowland. Pretty soon we're going to have the ride based off of it. And it's going to be 90 minutes of children singing.
You see, I didn't understand what you said because it cut out for a second. But then as soon as you said that, I know what you're talking about. I just get terrified.
Yeah. Then you had the, I'm surprised they didn't, instead of Tomorrowland, they should have just made Space Mountain the movie, and the majority of it is impossible to see, it's just like vague movements and darkness.
So, Requiem?
Yeah.
Sure. Well, because I didn't understand my reference, you can take all my nerd cards. I'm just gonna toss it away.
Okay.
I think
didn't actually get to ride Space Mountain when I was in Disney World in 2016. I was there. I was down in Florida for a wedding, but we got to go to Disney World for a couple of days. And I had been in Disney World once before when for my 13th birthday. It wasn't a birthday present. It was just we happened to go while it was my birthday. But I didn't get to ride Disney World, the Space Mountain while I was there, and I was always disappointed about that. So when we got to Disney World a couple of years ago, I was like, I am getting on Space Mountain. Like, if I do nothing else, if I die on riding Space Mountain, at least I will have ridden Space Mountain for a little while.
Yeah.
So I went there, and I ended up riding it like 3 times.
Nice. It's been a long time since I've ridden on Space Mountain. The first time that I tried to, it was broken down. The second time that I tried to was less than a year ago. I went to Disney World around spring break. I went there with my co-host Aaron Mehta and my sister. We tried going into Space Mountain, and the line was almost 2 hours long.
Yeah, that's how long it was for me. It was like the first time I went on it, it was like ridiculously long. We had something like I forget what they're called, but they're like passes where you can get right on one ride, and you can skip ahead of the line. Yeah. So I had one of those, so I was able to, but I didn't use it the first time. I waited through the whole line, and it was like I went into Space Mountain while it was still light out. By the time I got out, it was dead dark. It was dark, and the electric parade was going. Not only was the electric parade was going, it was almost over. So that was how long I had been waiting in line just to ride Space Mountain.
See, I've got a plan. Do they happen to have a place to skip ahead if you happen to be someone in a wheelchair or a caretaker of someone in a wheelchair?
I think that there might be a possibility that they do have certain rides do have
like I have a plan.
Right.
Hey, Charlie, you want to go to Disney World?
I saw this coming.
Me too.
I think I heard her say yeah. Okay.
Well, now you gotta do it. You realize.
You really have to do it now. And I expect a vlog of your Disney trip.
Yes.
And I want you to dress up as what can you dress up as for Disney World? That's a good question. I need to think of something good.
I'm gonna be the internet personality with the best hair.
Why does the first thing that come to mind Mickey as the Sorcerer's Apprentice?
I got the Michael Myers getup. I could wear that.
Maybe just because
or Charlie could.
Is the type of person who would steal a magic hat, put it on, cause a bunch of brooms to do his chores for him, and then they would run amok, and he wouldn't be able to stop it. So,
I mean, I guess maybe the Headless Horseman would probably be a.
There's also that, yeah.
Or Ichabod Todd, because he does have the long hair. Pull it back up.
Kat says they used to, but they stopped that because people would hire people who were disabled to cut lines.
Oh, really?
Okay.
That sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, the last time
you can get those, like I said, you can get those passes that I was talking about. So there's that.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, I was there at Disney World last. They did have some certain accommodations for people with wheelchairs.
Wait. If the person who's able-bodied can I just go to Disney World with one of Charlie's spare wheelchairs?
I wouldn't do that.
Me neither. Trust me, you wouldn't want to.
That's a bad idea.
Yeah. So, Aaron and I were waiting like over an hour and a half to get into Space Mountain, and the line was like dead stop. The sun was almost going down, and then we had to make a decision whether we wanted to get a good spot over at the where the electrical parade was going, or we wanted to keep on waiting. So
Kat says, Decker, that is lying.
Yes, it is.
I'm glad we cleared this up. And people say that videos on the internet aren't educational or don't teach you them.
Exactly. We talked about so today in Live and Wired, we talked about how honesty is the best policy, unless it's there for your convenience. So, so we decided that we just weren't gonna wait anymore. We actually got this really nice spot over at the I think it was like downtown USA, where the majority of the parade was going on. We got this really nice spot right in the middle, like over towards Cinderella's castle, and there by the time that we got there was barely anybody. Like an hour later, when the whole place was just filled up, it was just insane. And Aaron and I, we knew that we kind of made the right decision when we saw the fireworks going on, and it was a really nice show. But like getting into rides, oh man, it was so brutal. Like it's gotten even more difficult nowadays to get into rides.
I do remember like my favorite fireworks show was the one that takes place at the World Showcase in Epcot Center.
That's a great show, by the way.
That's a great one. Yeah, I loved that one. I was actually told, like, Yama told me, like, before I left, if you and your godmother do nothing else, you have to go to this. This is not negotiable. You have to be there.
Yeah,
and I was like, all
people
right,
say,
right.
win if you can, lose if you must, but always cheat. Cheat your ass off. And I'm thinking, like, I skip ahead in line, and then I just get a little pamphlet and say, you cheated not only the line, but yourself. You earned nothing, and your victory is hollow.
And Decker would be okay with that. Decker would be okay with that.
One of the people in the chat was asking about, is there a ride based off of Black Hole or Tron? Nothing for Black Hole, but they are doing something really awesome for Tron in Epcot. What they're doing is that they're actually going to be taking down the sphere, the Epcot sphere. They're going to be taking it down, and they're going to be replacing it with something else. And the entirety of, like, there's going to be a Tron attraction and a ride, but also they're going to restructure, like, the entire look, like, of, during the evening, like, when everything is dark.
Epcot is a giant ball. You need a giant ball.
It's a golf ball.
Yeah, it's a golf ball, Decker. They're
going to get a giant golfer to remove their giant ball?
Sure. But they are removing it. When I was in Epcot, that I did read the guide that said that they were going to remove it, I think in either next year or the following year. But for Tron, this is really awesome because they're actually going to be setting up, like, the sidewalks and some of the attractions, like, late at night. It's going to glow up to be Tron colors. So it's going to be all blues and oranges. So that's going to be amazing. I'm looking forward to seeing that when that comes out.
Brianna Roberts says, Decker, can you dress up as Freddy Krueger with Creepy as Jason Voorhees? I'm thinking if we're all going to Disneyland, I'm bringing Charlie. Charlie can be Wheelchair Myers.
Yeah.
Patricia, what you going to be?
Don't be mad at me when I say this. I mean this is a compliment. Maleficent.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Although Chris Rowdy C actually wanted me to dress up as Mary, and I was like, Merryweather and I was like, I can see that too. That could be a possibility. So you know what? I mean, sure, why not? It's either like one of the good who actually helps Aurora give her something useful, like to live, or I should be the mistress of all evil. So that's actually a pretty good.
Me,
mistress of all evil. Yes, but I'm actually curious about, like, which one. I'm not sure. But like it's actually funny because I was there around Magic Kingdom for Halloween a few years ago, and everybody was, like, showing up in, like, so many Star Wars costumes. It wasn't even funny. Like, everywhere I looked, it was either a Chewbacca there, Obi-Wan Kenobi there, Han Solo there, and some guy who was really awesome, by the way, came into this giant Baymax suit, and I thought that was the coolest thing ever.
It's 12 minutes to 10. So
oh my gosh!
We haven't even gotten to the YouTube, to the terrible.
Good.
Nerd Musk wants me to go as B. Arthur from the Star Wars Holiday Special.
My YouTube news is just that I have pretty much confirmed that their little, hey, people just aren't clicking it when we send it to them, is clearly just what it says whenever the video has less views than average. Because they have, the studio, they have a few new instances, like new little things they can show you. And for the Rush Hour 2 review, that went up, and for like 11 hours, it was live. And then they blocked it worldwide for 24 hours. So I have my little graph, and it shows the gray area in here. Like, here is your average in here. When it's in here, it'll just say it's looking good, performing as usual. And it shows the history, and it's well within that. And then it gets blocked worldwide and just flat lines out and is well under it. And then, after those 24 hours are up, it's live again, and then it clicks up a bit. So it's still gaining nicely, but for that position, it's well below where it otherwise would have been. And according to the YouTube Studio dashboard, it's telling me the reason the views are so low for it is that when they recommended it out to people, they just didn't click on it. And it's like, you blocked it for a day. I know why it's got low views.
What you gonna do? All right. So I guess since we are reaching the 10, I guess we do have to talk about the YouTube stuff eventually. So.
No, I just did. That was all we need to talk about.
All right. Okay. So I'll tell you what. One more bit of news, and then YouTube stuff. We have no other choice. People are going to be wanting it anyway. So let me just bring up our next bit of news. So with the success of George Miller's film Mad Max Fury Road, people are asking, what are you going to do a sequel? Well, because there were some difficulties involving with like distribution rights and issues with stuff like that. There was no possibility of it until finally legal issues were able to be subsided, and George Miller has announced that he's not only making one, he's making 3 sequels of Mad Max Fury Road.
Don't you normally just take the one movie and you try and turn it into a trilogy by making 2 more? And they're like, nah, the sequel is going to be a trilogy, okay?
Yeah. Why have one film when you can have an entire franchise? So, all right. So let me see. Whose turn is it to read? I think it was. Yeah, I think it is mine. Yeah.
See, I just want to hire the gatekeeper from Atmosphere to just be the moderator on Live and Wired. Stop! Whose turn is it next?
All right, so Kevin Burdine says you can go as the woman from the Stephen King Misery, Patricia. Really? Okay. That would probably scare a bunch of kids who are trying to meet up with Donald and Mickey Mouse, and then I just screaming my head off saying, "He didn't get out of the cock-a-doodle car." People will be looking at me like if I was crazy. Okay, George Miller returned to the world of Mad Max 2015 with Mad Max Fury Road, an all-time great action film that cast Tom Hardy in the role of Max Rokitansky and introduced a brand new franchise icon with Charlize Theron's Furiosa. The film grossed nearly $400 million worldwide at the box office and won 6 Oscars, while also scoring rave reviews nearly across the entire board. For my money, Fury Road is indeed a towering achievement in action cinema and one of the wildest, most awe-inspiring films to come across in my entire lifetime. So where's the sequel, you may ask? Well, it sounds like Miller actually plans on making a few follow-ups to Fury Road, and he updates this on a chat with IndieWire this week. There are 2 stories, both involving with Mad Max, and a Furiosa story, Miller told the site. We're still solving. We got to play out the Warners thing. He added, it seems pretty clear that it's going to happen. Long story short, the Warners thing Miller here refers to is the legal battle between his company and Warner Brothers, who had put the franchise's future in jeopardy for a time. It all started because of the chaos at Warner Brothers and not Kevin Tsuchihara. It was pre all that. Miller explained in the news chat with IndieWire. He wasn't the antagonist because a lot of the people didn't know what was going on and were not prepared to make a definitive stand. Everybody was running around fearful, it seemed, through 3 regimes. It was hard to get everyone's attention, so it went into litigation. The chaos has stabilized and has become extremely positive, as dust seems to have settled after the AT&T merger. Now the legal issues have worked out, it sounds like Max and Furiosa will soon return again to write historic on the Fury Road. Potentially 3 sequels are on the way. So, yeah, 3 sequels on Fury Road. Because we can't have just one. We need to have... and as stated by Judson Gaiden, it's not franchise anymore, it's cinematic universe.
Ah. Yes. Yes, of course.
So what terrible thing is going on in YouTube? I'm saying this just so we can hurt Decker some more.
To get that smile off your face, Patricia.
I'm doing it again?
No, you're just smiling. You're just smiling at my pain.
Oh, I'm sorry.
At my potential pain. You're like, yes, yes. This is for all of those cringy jokes he makes all these episodes.
Fine, fair enough. But, I mean, it's not so much as like, oh, it's terrible YouTube news. It's nothing of the sort. It's more along the line of, you know, we're going into the kids' perspective. And we discussed about this a while ago, about kids wanting to be YouTubers. They don't want to go to law school anymore. They don't want to be astronauts.
Well, who's going to get a job as a lawyer? Like,
you know what I'm saying.
I know, but at the same time, it's just...
I'm like, well, first you have to have 4 years of college under your belt. Then you have to serve as an intern. You also have to go to an actual law school, which is another 2 to 4 years.
See, I went from wanting to be a paleontologist to wanting to be a game designer to being a McDonald's employee to being a grocery dude to being a YouTuber.
Yeah.
And one of those things I really enjoy.
So let's read more into it, shall we? So here we go. Forget law school. Kids want to be YouTube stars now. The key points. Recent survey by
Patricia?
Yes?
You're not sharing screens.
Damn it. All right. Okay. A recent survey by Toymaker Lego found that 1/3 of kids between ages 8 through 12 aspire to be either a vlogger or YouTuber. Social media exposure seems to have increased kids' career aspirations, and a UK poll, however, found that money is not the motivating factor that would be for users. So, Creepy, it's your turn.
Alrighty then.
You're lucky.
I brought this on myself. Annie LeBlanc got her first job at 6 years old. For 8 years, she's posted YouTube videos featuring gymnastics, original songs, and various tutorials, amassing subscribers and building a loyal following of almost 3.7 million fans, LeBlanc told CNBC. I can talk! She's part of a generation of kids who wants to be YouTubers when they grow up.
It sounds like she already is, and an incredibly successful one at that.
Yeah, so...
good for her?
Yeah. In fact, 1/3 of kids between the ages of 8 and 12 aspire to be either a vlogger or a YouTuber, according to a recent survey conducted by Harris Polls and iconic Danish toy maker Lego. Oh, well, Lego was behind this then. It's part of a growing trend that stems partly from increased access to technology at younger ages, says Pam Moore, a social media expert and CEO of Marketing Nuts. Yeah, that's what it says, Marketing Nut. In Orlando,
they're an
Florida.
expert. They're a CEO at Marketing Nuts.
Maybe it's pronounced Newts.
I'm not giving it the benefit of the doubt there. No. The study, which polled thousands of kids in 3 countries, the United States, China, and the United Kingdom, found that the number of kids who wanted to be YouTubers depends on what part of the world they come from. Out of 1,000 kids surveyed in the US, 29% wanted to make it in vlogging. Kids from the UK gave a similar response rate, with 30% choosing a career via YouTube. Vlogger/YouTuber was the most selected career choice in both the US and UK results. In China, by contrast, only 18% of surveyed kids said they'd want to be a vlogger.
Well, it's kind of hard when it's like you're trying to speak your mind in China. That's really difficult.
UK travel company First Choice conducted a similar survey in 2017 that showed a combined total of 52.3% of 1,000 surveyed kids from age 6 to 17 years old wanted to become either a vlogger, a blogger, or a YouTuber. Catherine Chen, an associate professor of sociology at the City College of New York and the Cuny Graduate Center, I am not making that up, said the LEGO survey may show that the type of exposure in each country may influence kids' career picks. Gee, you think? Kids, she told CNBC, are influenced by their surroundings and the way they're socialized. Young people are more exposed to YouTube influencers right now, she said. Children may learn about an occupation because of what they're taught in school or in other kinds of influences and relationships may be more easily formed with YouTubers who act as influencers to kids trying to break into vlogging. A Think with Google analysis, oxymoron, found that 70% of teenage subscribers said they could relate.
Sorry.
I think that means that time is almost running out.
Yeah. So I'll give the wheel a final spin. Found that 70% of teen subscribers said they could relate more to YouTubers than to traditional celebrities.
Well, yeah. I mean, one of the big things about YouTube is the more direct connection between the YouTuber and the audience.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like Southern Yankee here says, "I know how to pole dance." He could have said that about while watching anything by any other celebrity. They wouldn't have mentioned it. They wouldn't have been like, "Hey, you know how to pole dance."
For many kids, one of the people they interact with the most every day is their teacher, but class sizes in public primary schools can range anywhere from 21 to 26 children. To me, that's small, because I went...
That's it?
When I was in elementary school, like, the class sizes were like 32 to 40. Schools are so packed nowadays. Like, what did I just say? That people can't connect with people, said social media expert Moore. So you have these huge influencers in the industry giving kids thoughts. I never heard my son quote his teacher ever. Well, I don't
giving
remember
kids thoughts.
I don't remember quoting my teacher on something. You know, that's not something.
I didn't have YouTube when I was going to school. I don't remember ever quoting my teacher then.
Same here. Yeah. One surprising finding from the First Choice survey was that today's young would-be vloggers and YouTubers are not primarily motivated by money, despite the potential for big paychecks. On average, advertisers pay 18 cents per view.
That's a ton.
Say what now?
I'm like, a fifth of a cent, maybe, if you're lucky.
Yeah. And Google keeps 45% of the amount that's ultimately made.
That's still like 9 cents. Where is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And if Decker's making like 9 cents, I'm probably making like half a penny.
Right. But if they have the subscribers and the view... Oh, excuse me.
Jeez. No, I'm not interested. Go away.
Hey, you're using our content. You may as well pay us.
But if they have the subscribers and the views like LeBlanc, whose videos frequently garner millions of views, YouTubers, even at young ages, can make serious cash. Over the last month, LeBlanc has made 9 videos on YouTube, averaging roughly 807,890 views per video. That means she could have made up to $80,000 in just 1 month alone, and that's on the lower end. The videos on LeBlanc's professional YouTube account, where she is known by her real name, frequently hit or surpass 1 million views. Still, other YouTubers can earn as much as $22 million a year, as popular account Ryan Toys review earns, according to Forbes.
Yeah, I make about 1,000th of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we already talked about Ryan's toy review a while ago, especially with the announcement that he was going to have his own series on. And so,
right. LeBlanc got into vlogging on YouTube at age 6, she said, when her mom put up videos of her competitive gymnastics routines. Today, she's using her YouTube account to showcase her singing and acting. For 7 to 8 years, I considered myself a full-time vlogger, she said, but now that I'm beginning to work more on Nickelodeon and acting, as well as focusing more on my music, I have to take a little step back from vlogging full-time so I can practice and hone my craft on both of those areas. Nickelodeon tapped LeBlanc to do a digital series called Annie vs. Haley in May.
Good for her!
Mm-hmm.
Will Last Name Guy says, there's probably a perception among kids that being a successful YouTuber is easy. And yeah, I mean, it's like, what do you see? Well, what you see tends to be the more successful people on YouTube. So,
right.
I mean, people who have been doing it for years and years and years and haven't really gained too much steam, generally you don't see them because, well, no one is.
You had a similar argument when television was becoming widespread, that kids wanted to break into television because they saw it as something easy and fun, instead of all the hard work that goes into that. Same thing with and I mean, now it's YouTube. YouTube, 50, 60 years later, YouTube is the new TV.
Yeah, it's actually funny because I remember Casey from the Friday Night Nicktoons podcast talking about, you remember how in the 80s it was like, we need to build a band because we see rock bands like on MTV. So building a band, right. And then we had like the 60s is like, oh, American Bandstand. I want to be like those kids on TV who dance to like Beatles music. Wouldn't that be awesome? Mm-hmm. And now today's equivalent of like all of those is like, I want to do a podcast. I want to do a YouTube channel. This stuff is like nothing new. I'm sure that in like 20, 30 years from now, it's going to be like completely different.
Yes, it'll be something else, but it'll be this. History will repeat itself, yes.
Yeah. So this is not a new thing. This is constantly done over and over again. It's like, hey, these radio stars, I want to be just, there's this new concept of what is it, situational comedy? Oh, I want to do something like...
One big difference with YouTube, in my opinion, is that YouTube is something that you can get into at a very low level of either skill or funding. All you need is some way to produce a video and upload it. And you can be a YouTuber at the most basic level. So the barrier of entry is a lot lower. Like, I was thinking maybe I could do radio, but no radio station ever returned my calls. I tried. I was like, hey, that sounds like that's something I could do. I could maybe be a radio host or something. These guys are hiring. They need someone. I had, no experience, and no one gave a damn. It doesn't matter how... Yeah, they didn't want to bring me in for an interview. They're like, fuck this guy. Who is he? Mm-hmm. Is this nobody?
Right.
Whereas you can be a nobody on YouTube and still at least get in the door.
Right.
That is true.
Mm-hmm. Within the last 8 years, there have been more kids hopping on the vlogging bandwagon, and with advanced technology such as iPads and newer iPhone models easily accessible to them, it's easier than ever to get involved, according to Moore. YouTube became the new babysitter, she said, which is the same thing they said about TV,
video
radio,
games, comic books,
loud
music.
So yeah. So many kids are missing their parental guidance and education, and American school systems are letting them down as well. Well, they've never really not done that.
True.
I mean, they're talking about all of this as if it's some brand new horrible thing, and I'm like, I remember these exact same statements being said 20 and 30 years ago.
I like that, in the ruins of Pompeii, you can find graffiti and writings and stuff. You find graffiti on the walls of Pompeii that translate to stuff like Susie is hot. Mm-hmm. And you find writings at the time, the ancient fucking Greece and shit, where they're like, you know what, kids are going to destroy the world because they don't respect their elders. This is just humanity right here. It's still the same.
Yeah, this is, again, history will repeat itself again and again.
Mm-hmm.
They don't educate them on career opportunities. I didn't get a whole lot of that either.
I didn't get educated on career in school. I was like, here's math. Now go to gym and jump around for a while. Now go to English class and learn how to speak and not sound like an idiot. I failed that, by the way.
I would have never guessed.
It's actually funny that we're even talking about something like this because it is true that kids seem to really resonate a lot with like vlog that because of social media and online websites that do vlogging. They talk about like realistic situations in a time in which like everything has to be like so censored. It's like, oh, we can't discuss about this because it's politically incorrect. I was talking about this with Eric Casimiro, who was the producer and director of a lot of Klasky Chupo Nicktoons when we were talking about As Told by Ginger. And he was talking about like, people watch vloggers and listen to podcasts discussing about body image and, people going through puberty and people going through like moments in which they feel like they're not pretty and they express themselves to people and they're like, oh, I know exactly how you feel. It's like, when parents are like so busy that they can't talk to their kids, or when schools are letting them down saying like, oh, you have to do it this way because that's how the educational system works. It's like, I guess in a way we are kind of like, whatever stuff that is on YouTube, like, I mean, we're not talking about like everything because, you have to go through like a sea of not good stuff in order for you to get to the really good stuff. But I'm sure that there's like a lot of kids out there who like really relate to kids who like, oh, I like, this thing because it looks like fun, or I can relate to this person because they're talking about something that I'm going through. So I think that's what intrigues them. It's like they want to kind of, they not only see it as fun, but they also maybe want to see it as like an inspirational point to like accomplish a dream or a goal or inspire.
Yeah. And there's this next line right there. Yeah. Kids see their parents struggling at careers and they see YouTube as a way out. Right.
Yes.
Like they see.
I kind of did.
Yeah. But I mean, like you go to a place, you go to a public school and the kids are jerks. You're surrounded by people that you just feel like you don't identify, you don't associate with. And then you go home, you get online, and you feel like you're surrounded by people who get you.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I mean, like,
I
get the temptation of that. I mean, like, they're going on about how kids aren't associating in real life, but the problem is they're not really giving kids a reason to do that.
I'm just confused. They're like, oh my god, kids think that YouTube is a potential career. It's like, well, it is actually. Like, it's not super easy. But
no.
It's easy to start. There's like next to no risk in just throwing yourself out there and saying, "Hey, here's my channel. Let's see if this works."
It's simple to start. We won't say easy, but we'll say it's simple.
Yeah,
in that it doesn't involve a whole lot of very, very complicated steps.
So like, I'm pretty sure my kids, they're gonna be like, hey, I want to do some vlogging or internet stuff like either you do or you used to do before your channel crashed and you failed and you had to get that job at Kroger again. Whichever the situation is, kids gonna be like, hey, I'd like to do that stuff, and I'm gonna be like, okay, kid, you know what? You can do that stuff, but you gotta also keep up and learn your shit and get an actual kind of occupation to fall back on and stuff until that's actually pulling enough to justify just doing that.
Yeah,
you have to still be a productive member of society.
Yeah, I actually just pulled up an article that I read. When I was going to Florida to visit my family and then eventually go over to Disney World. I actually read a magazine claim, and I actually found this called this a part of an article called "Loyalty Makes a Comeback," and I'm just going to read this real quick. The post-millennial generation saw their parents lose big during the financial crisis, and they learned to value security. Millennials want a dream job, says Pranam Lipinski, CEO of Doors of Clubs, which connects student club members and employers. The company surveyed thousands of Gen Z students, however, and they found out that they want success and financial stability over the dream job. That means that newcomers to the workforce are far more likely to remain loyal to an employer who provides a stable environment and the right benefits, as opposed to risking everything just so they can accomplish a dream. So thinking about that, I'm thinking that maybe because of that, they probably will think about, like, because of social media and because the internet has become so viable, they're probably saying, I want to see if maybe I can just do this because I've been, it's practically something that they're raised in. So
Yeah,
they think
but
of
not
it as
only
like
is it viable, but it is also volatile. So
that is true.
it might not provide the stability that a lot of them would be looking for.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I guess it depends on what they, it's all open into.
It's almost like
different
personal desires dictate what we want to do with our lives. And it's not just those YouTubers filling people with the... how many successful YouTubers are out there who are saying, hey, I love YouTube. It's so easy and easy to do. And it's just it's a super clear road to success the whole way. How many popular YouTubers are out there saying that shit?
Very true. All right. I think we should just probably just wrap this up. We're almost
done here. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair enough. Okay. Yeah, I think we're done here. But you get what we're saying. So.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, I think that overall, comment from Pudak, it says, "Call me old fashioned, but I'm not betting it all." It could be a possibility there might be some other viable.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he's right. I mean, we thought that, radio and television would last forever. Remember the old, the song, "Video Killed the Radio Star." So,
Yeah.
You know what? I mean, it could be a possibility that sometime in the future...
There was an actual parody of that. Internet killed the video star.
So, yeah, maybe it won't be, like, right away. Maybe it'll 4 or 5 generations in. But, I mean, you could be right. It could be a possibility that something else will take it over.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that should be pretty much it. This is, YouTube is usually how we end things off, so I think we could just conclude this episode of Live.
End things nice and depressing. Either that, or we're just trying to hold that off and try and feel good as long as possible before actually getting to this. Like, oh yeah, let's talk about YouTube. Oh yeah, let's talk about YouTube.
Okay. Anyway, Patricia, what have you got going on?
Let's see. We're almost close to finishing up Dream Machine. That is the podcast that my co-host Aaron and we discuss about every single DreamWorks film. So coming up next week, we'll be finally concluding it with our discussion of How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World. And then afterwards, we have a list that we're putting together based off of our listeners' votes on what they believe are the top 5 best and worst DreamWorks films. So if you want to see, the best and the worst on the top, then please vote. And all that month is concluding. I'm currently working on a script for looking back on Good Burger because it celebrated its 22nd anniversary not too long ago.
Have they come out with the Ed sauce yet? I still really want that sauce. If they do have it, I need the Ed sauce.
Yes, you go to California. They have the Good restaurant open, and from what I've seen, you could actually purchase the Ed.
Okay, I think I figured out what I'm going to be doing with my. Okay, I don't exactly have vacation money right now, but if I did, it would be spent getting Ed sauce and then getting a very large present for my fiance, who was asking why in the fuck we went all the way to California for Ed sauce.
Definitely was a simple man with simple.
Yes. All right, but I'm waiting. That is going to definitely be a major help for that video. So. And also, I just interviewed somebody else to close off all that month. I interviewed another former cast member. I can't say who it is, but it's a major surprise and major. Just one that I never thought that I would actually get a hold of. I'll just give you. It's somebody that was from the original run of that. And no, it's not Keenan or Kel, so please don't bombard me with that question. But it is somebody from the original, I'll just say.
That's awesome.
So yeah, that's all I have coming up. So there you go.
I have.
Keenan Thompson.
No, I just said it wasn't Keenan or Kel.
I have a new X-Men review coming up. I spent most of today editing that together. I'm almost done with it. I'm up to the final thoughts point. So that should be coming up tomorrow. Decker and I have a crossover coming up. And I have the new episode. I have the new review of episode 2 of Elect to look for everyone to look forward to as well. So
Awesome.
there's that.
Hey, you're gonna get us demonetized. So that knee. No. People get the channels taken down for the less. Stop that. Stop. No. So.
I remember.
Okay. So, what do I have going on now that you can't see the knee? God damn it. Got that crossover with Creepy going on. Hopefully with less knee. Also, while the summer of Jackie Chan's getting kind of all over the place with things getting blocked and this and that, and the glass ended up coming out in the middle of the summer of Jackie Chan, which confused a lot of people. And we just got week 7, Rush Hour 2. It was up and then blocked and now back up. Week 6's review, Shanghai Noon, was blocked when it went up, and now it's finally been unblocked, but I'm trying to pace it properly to make sure that everything has its own amount of time to perform as it will on the channel. It's like, I could just throw it all up on the same time, but that's going to be unnecessarily harming my channel, and it'll end up causing less people to have seen it overall anyway. So probably Monday the Shanghai Noon review is going to be going live. Let's see, can we yeah, okay, no more leg, good. And the gaming damn it. The gaming channel got streams on Sunday and Wednesday. Might have a stream Saturday. I don't know. I was trying to do that last week, and fiance was like, "But this is our day." I'm like, "But I got work to do. I got things, and I didn't record enough stuff for the gaming channel. I recorded more Sakura Cupid, so yay."
Yeah.
And so yeah, live streams on Sundays and Wednesdays on the gaming channel on Twitch, and yeah, that's pretty much what's going on there.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, so that about does it for this episode of Live and Wired. Thank you all for watching. I've been Dr. Shadow.
I've been Patricia.
And I've been that long-haired creepy guy. And remember, legs.
No, that's it. Cutting the